Chapter 281 Kill her, and you can leave alive. With such an attack method, such an explosion scale, and being so close to here, Xiaoran could only think of one person. That is the pink demon Su Miao who planted mutated willow trees in the desert. But didn't the pink demon plant trees dozens of kilometers away? Why is her attack nearby? Xiaoran looked ahead and saw a chasm in the desert 1 kilometer away. The nearby sand collapsed instantly and turned into terrifying quicksand flowing towards the chasm. He turned around and ran away. If it were an ordinary person standing here, he would definitely be swept away silently by the quicksand. Xiaoran ran away and suddenly felt an inexplicable suction force. Caught off guard, the whole person fell into quicksand. The ability to control quicksand suddenly failed at this moment, and Xiaoran's soul emerged. Fortunately, this loss of ability lasts only a short time. When you open your eyes again, you are already in a strange underground palace. Is this part of the underground palace? Xiaoran stood in the underground palace. The remnants of sand around him proved that he had fallen from above. However, this place is far away from the palace where Hu and Foam Crocodile are located. Xiaoran turned on the light he carried with him, looked around, and walked forward casually. 15 minutes later, he walked through the corridor and stopped, looking alert. This is a very large square. The light shone forward, and Xiaoran saw many human sculptures standing in the square. They stood neatly and uniformly, and they had been forced to stand for who knows how many years. No, the clothes on these people are from different eras. However, there are many people inside who look the same, wear the same clothes, and even have the same tiny damaged areas. Xiaoran thought of the outrageous story told by the veteran of Baisha prison. More than 100 years ago, Long State, which did not have abundant nuclear weapons reserves, suddenly tested several nuclear explosions in the desert. There are different opinions on the reasons for these nuclear explosions. Xiaoran has heard some, and told some based on what he heard. The old man sneered and said that the truth was not the case at all. The real use of nuclear weapons was because of the horrific and strange events that occurred there. Officials have discovered several mysterious underground palaces in the desert. They formed an archaeological team to explore the underground palace several times in a row, and the harvest was very fruitful. Until they discovered it. Countless zombies crawled out of it, and they killed one zombie after another. They found that these zombies all had the same clothes, the same appearance, and even some of the zombies looked like them. Official attempts to send troops to clean up the crackdown have all failed. For this reason, officials have to use nuclear weapons to cleanse the land and completely clear these zombie zones. Oh, by the way, these zombies are not zombies in the literal sense. They are living people. Replicants to be exact. Later, based on this incident, many murder series involving time repetition paradoxes appeared in the world. Movie. With his thoughts retracted, Xiaoran looked at everything in front of him. His scalp numb. These people are moving. Also caught in the strange darkness is Wu Ji, the leader of Yanqing. For this time, he brought more than 100 people to fight for the sacred objects. All he needs to do is for Wei Jin to seize the divine object. Come here and let him take care of it. And then suppress the following pursuers. And the divine object will be obtained. By controlling the divine artifact, Yanqing will be able to walk sideways in this apocalyptic world unless it is extremely destroyed by natural disasters that make people unable to contend. The existence of divine objects represents the existence of gods. Does this mean that humans have the opportunity to become gods? Wuji got some news earlier. The mysterious organization headed by C after the apocalypse conducted all kinds of horrifying experiments in order to find a way to become immortals. And some members even almost succeeded. This organization also participated in the fight for the underground palace's sacred objects. Otherwise, Wu Ji really couldn't imagine who would deliberately leak such important information to him through a telegram, just to attract him to participate in the fight? As they wished, he came. The plan was going smoothly, but the sudden appearance of strange darkness made them lose their way. However, their luck was better than that of the people in Baisha prison. They fell into quicksand while getting lost before Su Miao could launch Starlight Bloom. Except for a dozen people who were actually swept away by the quicksand and ended up unknown. Everyone else came to this mysterious underground palace alive. City Lord, we have entered the underground palace. The ability users in Yanqing searched around and reported to Wu Ji. We are more than 5 kilometers away from Wei Jin. Wu Ji nodded and said, this underground palace will not involve us for no reason. There must be something else going on. Keep searching. If we can control this underground palace and make it our new base in Yanqing, we won't have to worry about heavy rains, floods, snowstorms, extreme cold, high temperatures, earthquakes, etc. When everyone heard what Wu Ji said, they were very nervous at first. But now they all became excited. Yes, compared to the dirty and messy base, the environment here is really great. Housing tens of thousands of people is not a problem. City Lord, there is a powerful person over there. He. A person with abilities ran over and reported with a horrified expression. Wu Ji pressed the man's shoulders and said, "Lead the way." The ability user who returned to report immediately calmed down and said, "City Lord, that ability user turned our people into gold, silver and stone." Wu Ji frowned, and he led the people to stride forward and arrived at an empty hall in a few steps. The hall is brightly lit. This is the light emitted by the lamps in the hands of the ancient ability users who turned into stone, silver, and gold statues in the hall. There is a person standing in the middle of the stone statue. Under the light, this person looks very sad, but also has an indescribable strength. Young master of the Chai family, Chai Fakian. Wu Ji recognized the man's identity. Chai Fakian was the son of the former richest man in Long Kingdom. Before the end of the world, family businesses were spread all over the world. At its peak, the Chai family relied on the company's monopoly business to become the top chaebol in many countries. There was even a Chai family company on Mars. However, precisely because the Chai family is so rich, they have been closely watched by all countries in the world. However, the headquarters of the Chai family has always been in the Dragon Kingdom, which has made countries somewhat constrained in their attempts to plunder. One day, the Chai family changed their headquarters on the grounds of expanding their business and opening up a broader market in the sky. The whole process went smoothly, and the top management of the Chai family was very happy, thinking that this would allow them to avoid taxes openly, or to evade taxes. Just then, disaster struck. First, the starship controlled by the Chai family company that traveled to and from Earth and Mars was suspected of being attacked by a meteorite. As a result, the Chai family faced astronomical losses and had to pay an astronomical amount of compensation. Immediately afterwards, inexplicable military coups occurred in several countries where the Chai family was the top chaebol, and the Chai family group's local assets were plundered. Worst of all, the country they once thought was a big country with free trade and capital arrested all the managers who settled in the country in one day and forced these people to sign confessions and cheap acquisition agreements. In just 3 months, the once glorious Chai family group collapsed. The tribesmen died in this avalanche and went crazy. Those who survived were either imprisoned or faced with exorbitant lawsuits. Chai Fakian was lucky enough to escape because he stayed in the Dragon Kingdom. However, his parents are gone. His brother is gone. His sister is gone. His wife is gone. Everything is gone. At this moment, the end came, and Chai Fakian, who was heartbroken, awakened and became a person with abilities. His ability is to turn people into stone, silver, or gold statues within a certain distance. Chai Fakian began to kill everyone for a little food without any scruples. His killing methods were extremely cruel, because when they turned into stone, silver, or gold statues, the people inside did not die. In essence, it was as if they were sealed with cement and their whole bodies could not move. If such a seal cannot be lifted as soon as possible, the sealed person will be suffocated to death in a very short period of time. If such a seal is forcibly released, the people inside will shatter like ice cubes. So far, no one who has been sealed to death by Chai Fakian has survived. Chai Fakian was wanted by many forces, but he was always alive. Unexpectedly, Chai Fakian would come here. Chai Fakian turned around. Again? He raised his hands, and strange power ripples spread. Wu Ji's expression changed, and he quickly retreated. The reaction of the people standing around him was slow. They showed shocked expressions, and remained unresponsive. They were sealed into silver statues on the spot, and did not react at all. Chai Fakian, you are looking for death. Several flying needles were sent out, piercing the air and stabbing towards Chai Fakian. Chai Fakian stood still, and did not dodge. The invisible ripples spread again, with several gold and silver statues blocking the front. In an instant, there was an undetectable sound of penetration, and the gold and silver statues in front of Chai Fakian were torn apart. Not a drop of blood flowed out of the people inside. They seemed to have completely turned into gold and silver. Wu Ji, if I were you, I would kill all these burdens. Otherwise you will die in their hands sooner or later. Chai Fakian left behind such an ambiguous sentence and disappeared from the hall. Wu Ji's needle just penetrated 6 gold and silver statues in a row. and stabbed the tip of his nose with unabated force. It was only 3 inches away from the tip of his nose, which was quite dangerous. He came here for the divine object and did not want to risk his life. Any obstacles you will encounter on the road should be cleared if you can. If you can't clear them, you won't lose anything by retreating temporarily. Wuji looked at the gold, silver and stone statues left in the hall with a gloomy expression. Due to the influence of the strange darkness, more than a dozen of the people he brought have disappeared, and another dozen disappeared when they were trapped in the underground palace. Now Chai Fakian has killed more than 20 people, leaving less than 50 people around him. Damn it. Jing met a madman. Wuji glanced at the passage Chai Fakian left and cursed Chai Fakian for encountering the pink demon Su Miao wandering nearby. They will fall into the underground palace for no reason under the influence of the strange darkness. And the pink demon Su Miao wandering outside is very likely to fall into it. Come on! There must be some divine object in this underground palace. Otherwise a person with abilities like Chai Fakian would not appear here. Wuji waved his hand and said, upon hearing that there might be a divine object here, the remaining people became excited again. A few minutes ago, in the underground palace temple, Hu from Beisha prison, Wei Jin from Yanqing, Sizui, 2 black cloak ability users, and the newly arrived scattered powerful ability users were in a stalemate. Everyone wants to take the blood-stained silver spear that would Subin killed the gods. But the previous examples have already explained the situation. All the ability users who tried to get their guns exploded. Just when everyone didn't know how to deal with it, a shrill scream suddenly sounded in the temple. Several low-strength ability users felt their brains empty, their 7 orifices bleeding, and they died tragically on the spot. Only a few powerful ability users such as Sizui, Hu, Wei Jin, and the 2 black cloak ability users could stand intact in the temple. What happened? The doubts were not resolved yet, and everyone present felt the ground shaking and their bodies unsteady. The 2 black cloaked ability users looked at each other. They quickly took a look at the energy level reactors they carried with them. There were 2 energy level detectors. One is an unfamiliar blood-colored wave curve, which is extremely dangerous and very close to them. A pink wave curve. The curve wave shows extreme danger, not too far away from them. They could roughly guess something from the blood wave curve. The god in this temple, who was slaughtered by Huitsubing, was indeed dead, but not completely dead. Fortunately, they had already prepared for this. But why did the pink fluctuation curve that shouldn't appear? This pink wave curve represents the pink demon Su Miao. They clearly got information that the pink demon went to destroy the Luo family base. The Luo family base is dozens of kilometers away from here. And the pink demon just came back? Also, the ability users in Yanqing and Beisha prisons they designed did not encounter the pink demon by chance? The situation is serious. We must find a way to take away the silver gun as soon as possible. The earthquake stopped. The survivors looked alert, and a few walked towards the exit. This place was so weird that they wanted to escape. But when they reached the exit, they were shocked to find that their bodies were out of control. Who is controlling me? Please, let us go! Spare your life! Chief, help! Several people quickly ran towards the blood-stained silver gun on the ground. Bang, bang, bang. Without any surprise, these controlled ability users exploded one by one, and the silver gun dripping with blood on the ground did not move at all. Who is it? Hu was so angry that the person who did it secretly dared to control their brothers in Beisha prison. Cixin watched this scene calmly. He knew how to control people with abilities. He only needed to control the sins on the opponent's body. But he didn't bother to use such methods. If the crime is enough, the death penalty is enough. Why bother? However, the current manipulation was to get Huitsubing's silver spear to kill the gods, and he was happy to see the results of the other party's experiment. Unfortunately, the results were unsatisfactory. Huh? Cixin looked at one of the ability users, who was wearing a black cloak and hiding his head. When he first arrived, he noticed that these 2 people were very strong. But something always felt wrong, as if the other person was not a human being at all. Gulyalu! Suddenly, one of the black-cloaked ability users let out a weird scream. Suddenly, a bunch of tentacles emerged from under the cloak. With a bang, he was hit hard against the wall. It was as if someone had shot him through and hit the wall hard. And the dark blood couldn't stop flowing out. Ah, Gulyalu, save me! He shouted miserably. I thought it would be okay to control other ability users to get Huitsubing's silver gun. But I never expected that the remaining energy on the silver gun would shatter those ability users and directly attack his body. What's even more terrifying is that he can't even defend or dodge. Another person with black cloak abilities wanted to rescue, but had no idea what to do. Ah! The black cloaked ability user struggled several times and exploded on the spot. The expressions of the ability user's present changed, including who just wanted to denounce the murderer. What was happening now was beyond his understanding, and he felt that he would die if he continued to stay here. After more than 2,000 years, the silver spear left by Huitzubing can still have such terrifying lethality. How terrifying it must be for a god to die under this silver spear. Is the champion Huitzubing really a human? Zui pressed one hand on the black code, ready to take action at any time. There was no other reason. It was just that the dead black cloaked ability user was only slightly weaker than him. The divine blood is gone, Wei Jin said while staring at the throne. Everyone looked at the throne and found that the pool of uncoagulated divine blood remaining on it had disappeared. The only place where the divine blood still remained was the silver gun dripping with blood. Everyone, I'll hand over the silver spear to you. I'll leave first. Cough. The few who survived turned and left. Just as they walked towards the entrance of the passage, they found that the surrounding environment had changed and turned into an endless desert, as if the underground palace had never existed. The blood-stained silver spear left by Huitzubing also disappeared. There was no sun or moon in the sky. It was just eerily bright. There was an unusual rustling sound in the desert in the distance, and one after another people with abilities could be seen crawling out of the sand. If you look closely, you will see that their faces are the same as those of the ability users who were killed by the strange screams earlier. What's even more terrifying is that when they come out again, they all look the same. Kill them! A person with unknown ability said. Needless to say, Wei Jin, who had already started killing. However, no matter how many copies of ordinary ability users were killed, more would pop up later, and it seemed that they could not be killed at all. The surviving powerful ability users were trapped in a bitter battle. I don't know how much time passed before a voice sounded in their ears. Do you want to live? Kill her and you can leave alive. After a moment of trance, the surviving ability user saw a figure in front of him. She was wearing a witch's robe and had a beautiful pink shawl and twin tails. Who else could this be if she wasn't the pink demon Su Miao? Zui slapped a copy to death and looked at the figure with a strange expression. This is very interesting. This god who is not dead actually asked them to kill the pink demon. I'll go, but my strength is running out. I might die if I go up directly. An injured Esper shouted loudly. Although I don't know what the situation is. If I continue to persist here, I will be killed by the clone sooner or later. It is better to kill this strange ability user. Maybe I can save my life. Very well. Open your heart, and I will grant you divine power, said the mysterious voice. This time, everyone heard clearly. The injured ability user hesitated for a moment, opened his arms and said, I'm ready. Suddenly, a beam of golden light fell on him, causing his injuries to recover in an instant, and his strength rising steadily, reaching a level that he had never dared to imagine before. This power? Ha ha ha! Enough! Enough! Watch me beat her to pieces! He clenched his fists excitedly, feeling invincible. The next second, his figure disappeared. Zui looked at this scene thoughtfully. The center of the golden light was blood-colored, with a bit of weird darkness, which seemed to be able to blend in with the sin he needed. Outside, looking at the sky that had returned to the hot and scorching sun, Su Miao, Xia Xuan, and Lin Jiujiu rested in the magic barrier of the pear tree. After a while, the patrolling Mina returned. Your Highness, nothing was found. Found nothing? In this case, does it mean that the source of strange darkness buried under the desert was completely wiped out by the starlight blooming just now? Su Miao looked at the desert scorched by the scorching sun and said, Let's get out of here first. Regardless of whether they are eliminated or not, there is definitely nothing wrong with leaving here. When Xia Xian and Lin Jiujiu arrived at the safe zone, her magic power was restored, and she returned to the sky above the desert to release starlight blooms once a day. It's the end of the world. This is a vast desert, and the nearby Luo family base has been destroyed. There is no doubt that such an empty no-man's land is an excellent place for magic experiments. If the source of the weird darkness is still there, just bomb it a few more times, and that will be enough. Putting away the pear tree magic barrier, Su Miao took Lin Jiujiu and Xia Xian and continued to move forward. She didn't go far when she felt there was nothing under her feet. Su Miao immediately released a magic barrier under her feet to ensure that she would not fall. As a result, in the blink of an eye, the surrounding yellow sand disappeared and turned into a very empty underground palace square. Lin Jiujiu, Xiaoxian, and Bob Gu fell next to Su Miao. The yellow sand falling on the ground indicated that they were indeed outside just now.
Sister Su Miao, there is something very scary here. If it says to kill you, let us go,
Xiaoxian said with a horrified expression. Su Miao said,
control your ability and don't listen. Jiojio, you too.
Lin Jiojio nodded. She had heard it just now, and she almost habitually explored possible dreams nearby.
Your Highness, there is someone,
Mina shouted. I saw an ability user appearing out of thin air in the desert. The moment he appeared, he seemed to be still immersed in the energy that seemed to explode in his body. If there was a mountain in front of him, he felt like he could crush it with his bare hands. So cool. Hearing Bago's cry, he looked over and said with a grin,
are you the one I want to kill?
Boom. Without saying anything, his vision was annihilated by the dazzling magic beam. Su Miao held the alloy staff and kept a cold look on her face. She was a little frightened by the stranger who suddenly appeared. The malice in this stranger was too strong. Mina blinked a few times. Has His Highness killed people faster? Suddenly, 3 more ability users appeared out of thin air. As soon as they appeared, they attacked Su Miao. Su Miao used the alloy staff and several magic beams exploded, killing all 3 of them instantly. Resurrection of the dead. Considering that enemies might still appear, Su Miao asked them to stand up again. However, this time something unexpected happened. The undead are still there, and the person who was killed just now appears out of thin air again. Chapter 282, Bug. Brushing undead elites. What's happening here? Su Miao looked at the 3, refreshed, ability users. The alloy staff moved forward and killed the 3 people instantly again. Resurrection of the dead. She has 3 more undead. 3 more copies of ability users appeared. And as usual, they were instantly killed by 3 magic beams that pierced their heads. And then, they got up and became undead. In the blink of an eye, Su Miao had 30 undead. Such an attack did not consume much of her magic power at all. On the contrary, her magic power was restored a little. In addition, Su Miao discovered a pattern. The areas where these clones appear will have a certain amount of malice. She only needs to time it to kill the people who appear. The appearance of clones stopped. Su Miao held the alloy staff and waited. Lin Jiojio and Xiaoxian were a little scared at first. But seeing this scene, they felt very strange. Although the Mina is also scared, it always maintains a vigilant state, always observing its surroundings to be on guard against possible enemies. A minute later, another powerful ability user appeared.
I am...
Boom. 30 undead people collectively attacked and beat up the Esper, who didn't have time to introduce himself. Seeing the thunderous methods of these undead, Su Miao blinked. These undead are very powerful. Is it time for a new clone to appear next? As a result, Su Miao waited for a few minutes, but did not wait for the new copy to appear. Su Miao blinked and summarized the pattern. Will old targets stop copying when new enemies appear? When a new enemy is destroyed and the complete body is not preserved, the new enemy cannot generate a clone? The above needs to be verified before reaching a definite conclusion.
Sister Su Miao, the new one is coming,
Xiaoxian reminded. Su Miao held the alloy staff and looked forward. The new one has arrived, and she can just try it out. A minute later, 2 beardless ability users appeared out of thin air. They looked neither male nor female. Unlike the previous ability users, they seemed to know who Su Miao was, and they locked onto Su Miao and launched an attack the moment he appeared. However, without Su Miao taking action, 30 undead pounced on him. 1 person was blown up, and the other barely left his body intact. However, it must be admitted that these 2 people are very strong. 3 of the undead who rushed towards them were maimed and 5 or 6 injured. However, such injuries were nothing to the undead. The maimed undead groped around, found some parts from the fragments of the blown corpse, repaired it, and stood up again. Resurrection of the dead. With the body left intact, Su Miao asked him to stand up again and join the team of the undead. Next is the moment to verify the miracle. Sure enough, a minute later, the ability user whose corpse was exploded was not refreshed. But the ability user whose corpse became undead was refreshed. As before, he attacked Su Miao as soon as he appeared. The refresh and reset seemed to have copied even his thoughts. The nearby undead got stuck in position, raised the knife, and cut off the replica's head. This time, Su Miao did not rush to transform the dead bodies into undead, but continued to wait for refresh and harvest. When the number of corpses on the ground reached almost 20, Su Miao revived the undead and asked these headless corpses to stand up. He placed any head on it and stood aside to wait.
Your Highness's operation looks like a game master's bug-spawning monsters.
Beige looked at the undead, who was stuck in the right position, and then looked at His Highness Su Miao, who looked calm, and remembered that His Highness Su Miao seemed to have collected many games. It guessed right. Su Miao was indeed a game master. Because of social anxiety and fear of social interaction, playing games where no one knows anyone after unplugging the network cable has become one of Su Miao's escapes from reality. But even in games, Su Miao rarely communicates with other players, so that in some games there are legends about a mysterious high-end player, but no one knows more about this high-end player. Some players suspected that Su Miao was a bastard in the game, and went to complain and report, saying that Su Miao destroyed the balance of the game. In the face of fierce player crusade, some official games had to issue announcements to prove it. At this time, when Su Miao found out that she was famous, she would quickly retreat. The current method of farming undead elites is a routine operation that Su Miao can do in the game, and it is not worth mentioning.
Kill her and you can leave alive.
Weird whispers would ring in the ears of survivors from time to time. Being able to survive the weird screams and successfully block the attacks of endless clones, the remaining ability users are all very strong. Except for a few ability users who were seriously injured and couldn't stand it. They accepted the hint of the strange voice and expressed their willingness to kill the pink demon Su Miao. But more people hesitated, because no one thought that agreeing to kill the pink demon would be such a step. A very sacred-looking light first falls in the sky, helping those with abilities who are willing to go instantly recover from their injuries, breakthrough in strength, and then teleport immediately. Is this a joke? Even if you don't know the ability user of the pink demon Su Miao, who knows him would dare to face the pink demon head-on without any precautions? Teleported directly without even making preparations? Isn't that asking for death? The pink demon Su Miao uses the purple sun in his hand to create a nuclear bomb mushroom cloud-level explosion. Is this something a flesh-and-blood body can resist head-on? And after so many ability users have been teleported, no one has succeeded? But the weird voice didn't care.
Kill her and you can leave alive.
It continued to whisper. This is not a threat. It is a command, but a conscious suggestion, mixed with conscious control. As long as you hear the sound, you will be affected to some extent. Si Zui was the first to notice this secret manipulation, and he looked surprised. He pressed one hand on the black code, and the dark sin spread quietly around. Chai Fakian, who was walking in the long desert, smeared. Invisible ripples spread, sealing all the clones that rushed over into stone, silver, and gold statues. Then, these statues blocked the refreshed point of the clones, allowing the clones to one appeared, and the other was crushed to death. The situation here in Yenching Wuji has become a bit complicated. He successfully saved the lives of his men, but after walking for a while, he encountered a group of ability users. Except for him and his two capable deputies, the group of ability users across from them all looked and dressed exactly the same as the men behind them.
City Lord, why are you here? We have been looking for you for a long time,
said one of the people on the other side. There was a little fear in his eyes, and he obviously didn't expect there to be a group of people who looked exactly like them.
City Lord, there is something wrong with these people,
the person standing behind Wuji said. They raised their weapons and were ready to fire at any time. When the other side saw their reaction, they immediately took up their stance and prepared to counterattack. Wu Ji and his two deputies looked solemn when they saw the scene. Who is true and who is false? The question could not be answered. Another group of people appeared in the distance, with the same faces and the same configuration. No, there were two more people in the team this time, and the two deputies around Wu Ji were among them.
City Lord, be careful. They are the clones we met in the underground palace.
The manager on the opposite side, Bayandeku, shouted loudly.
City Lord, come here quickly. They will assassinate you.
Another manager on the other side, Chung Jifeng, shouted eagerly. He could not wait to rush over immediately. Bien Dakue's expression changed as he stood next to Wu Ji.
City Lord, don't believe them. They will kill you.
Wu Ji looked gloomy. At this moment, he understood what Chai Fakian meant. If he didn't kill them, he would wait to be killed by them. In addition to the voices of these people, there was also a strange voice that sounded in Wu Ji's ears.
Kill her and you can leave alive.
Who? Wu Ji looked around, trying to find the person who made the sound. He has heard this sound more than once. What is even more terrifying is that this strange sound can make people see the appearance of the person they want to kill. Let him kill the pink demon Su Miao. Are you kidding me? The strange voice said again.
Order your men to go down, or be killed by your men.
Wu Ji was very angry. This was the second time since the end of the world that he had been threatened like this. However, he had no choice. Wu Ji looked at the men behind him, the clone men in front of him, and the clone men who were coming, and said,
All of you claim to be from Yinqing. Now listen to my order and kill the pink demon.
What? Everyone's expressions changed.
City Lord.
The managers Bian Dakue and Chang Jinfeng were shocked and didn't understand why Wu Ji gave them such an order. Wu Ji said righteously,
The pink demon Su Miao has also come here. If you leave it alone, she will destroy everything. Destroy everything. And then none of you will be able to survive. I didn't let you go before because there were few people. Now that there are several times more of you, and you all recognize me as the city lord, then I will naturally recognize you as people from Yinqing. For the future of Yinqing, kill the pink demon. Believe me, as long as you survive, you will all become stronger.
Only one of the above is true. If you leave the pink demon alone, the pink demon will destroy everything here, and the rest is nonsense. However, even the weird sounds that he couldn't detect were so fearful of the pink devil, which proved from the side that the pink devil has such strength. Not to mention that Wu Ji now has no idea who is the original person and who is the copy. If you continue to let it go, you might know how many copies will appear here. And then, they will definitely fight to compete for the position of the original body. By then, the situation was out of control. And Wu Ji could not be sure who would assassinate him in the melee. He couldn't really kill everyone. Even if they were all killed, Wu Ji was not sure whether more copies would appear. Managers Bian Dakue and Chang Jinfeng looked at Wu Ji's back and felt cold in their hearts. They joined Yinqing to survive. But they never thought that one day Wu Ji would give up on them without hesitation. Can more people kill the pink demon? They heard clearly just now that the city lord asked them to kill the pink demon. But the people who went did not include the city lord himself. Disobey? Managers Bian Dakue and Chang Jinfeng had thought about it. Just thought about it. Looking at the eyes of the clones in the distance. And then looking at the city lord Wu Ji who abandoned them without hesitation. They understood that they had no choice this time.
Yes!
They lowered their heads and agreed to Wu Ji's order. The rest of the brothers, including the clones present, all agreed to Wu Ji's order. Wu Ji said,
Okay.
He looked at the men in front of him, feeling horrified. But the subordinates agreed, and the number of subordinates in front of them increased 10 times. And there were more than 1,300 people at a glance. There were also dozens more capable deputies, Bian Dakue and Chang Jinfeng. And their auras became stronger in an instant. The next second, their figures distorted and disappeared, as if they had never existed.
Tell me, why do you want to kill the pink demon?
Wu Ji said to the air.
Pink Devil. Turns out her name is Pink Devil.
The strange voice murmured, but did not answer Wu Ji's question.
You have done a good job. I will give you strength.
Suddenly, a golden beam of light fell on Wu Ji's body, and he felt an extremely powerful mysterious force pouring into his body. Wu Ji instinctively wanted to refuse. But this mysterious power not only made him stronger, but also gave him the possibility to complete the missing treasure below. When he first established Yinqing, he couldn't bear to see others possess what he didn't have. So he set a rule that those who joined Yinqing must be castrated. But he never thought that in such a doomsday, he would have a chance to recover. Very good.
Ha ha!
Wu Ji laughed happily. A moment later, a strange voice sounded again.
Kill her, and you will be whole again.
Wu Ji's expression changed.
Where are my people?
The strange voice did not answer, but whispered repeatedly.
Kill her, and you will be whole again.
Wu Ji's expression changed. How long did it take for his men to be teleported away? All wiped out so quickly. How can it be? Unknowingly, Su Miao had more than 200 undead under his command, most of whom were undead elites with strong combat effectiveness. Now, Su Miao no longer needs to take action at all. The undead will take the initiative to attack, destroy the enemies that suddenly appear, and set up traps at the refresh point to deal with the clones, which is very efficient. The only thing Su Miao had to do was to accumulate too many corpses and just revive the undead. Suddenly, Su Miao turned sideways and glanced at Xiaoxian, Lin Jiujio, and Ba Gu.
Sister Su Miao. That voice kept mumbling. And for a moment, I actually had the idea of hurting Sister Su Miao.
Xiaoxian's body was trembling.
This voice has the effect of psychological suggestion. It may be able to control people later.
Lin Jiujio was startled and said,
Sister Su Miao. I did the same just now.
Bago trembled.
Your Highness. Me too. This is too scary.
Su Miao blinked. No wonder she felt a trace of malice from Xiaoxian, Lin Jiujio, and Beige just now, although the malicious intent was very weak and disappeared in a flash. Su Miao was still keenly aware of it, first through psychological suggestion, and then through mind control. Su Miao said,
Jiujio, let's have a concert.
Lin Jiujio was startled.
Sister Su Miao. Now?
Su Miao said.
Yes. Now. Your singing can purify mind control.
Lin Jiujio said.
Yeah.
She took a deep breath, and the concert field expanded. Lin Jiujio appeared on the stage and became a shining beautiful girl idol, full of energy. However, for some unknown reason, Xiaoxian followed on the stage and also put on a sparkling singing outfit. Xiaoxian looked at the shameful wearing of singing clothes and stood on the stage, feeling a little at a loss.
Shaolin, sing along,
Su Miao said.
Enemies will appear later. You can sing along and let those enemies outside the range actively enter Jiujio's concert area.
That you may be influenced to have ill will is a small punishment. Xiaoxian, who was standing on the stage, heard Sister Su Miao's voice and felt like crying. She couldn't sing. However, Lin Jiujio had already started singing and took her to sing along. Xiaoxian was surprised that she could sing such a beautiful voice. As she was distracted, she failed to hear clearly what Sister Su Miao said later. Just when she sang along, Xiaoxian felt that her spirit, heart, and soul were cleansed by the singing. For a moment, the strange whisper could no longer affect her. Bagu even took the light stick directly off the stage and started to make crazy calls for Lin Jiujio and Xiaoxian. The dangerous psychological implication disappeared. It was really frightened just now. Having been with His Highness Su Miao for a long time, it is very familiar with some of His Highness Su Miao's abilities. For example, why His Highness Su Miao suddenly kills people when he meets strangers is because these people have malice in their hearts. Even if there is only a trace, His Highness Su Miao will eliminate the target immediately. Just now, Starling felt the crisis of death. Just in a moment. Do you know how dangerous it was just now? I almost killed you all. This was Su Miao's heartfelt voice that Xiaoxian could not hear. In fact, even if Xiaoxian was not distracted, Xiaoxian would not be able to hear this sentence. Su Miao held the alloy staff tightly and was very angry. If the magic power hadn't been restored, she would have sent a burst of starlight to this strange space immediately. If she accidentally kills Xiaoxian, Lin Jiujio, and Beige, she will really be alone in the apocalypse. She is socially anxious, used to loneliness, and used to darkness, but she still hopes to have someone to talk to. In this weird space, the weird sounds from Xiaoxian and Lin Jiujio made Su Miao so angry for the first time. Suddenly, the clone stopped refreshing, and Su Miao looked forward, knowing that a new enemy was about to appear. Malice. A lot of malice. Densely packed. I don't know how many there are. In an instant, more than 1,300 people appeared in Su Miao's field of vision. They are the ability users of Yinqing, and the clones of these ability users. Su Miao was startled when she saw so many people who looked the same. This was because Weird Dimension noticed her bug in her method of getting undead elites. So she just copied a large number of them and sent them over? Everyone. The two general managers of Yinqing, Bian Dakue and Cheng Jifeng, saw the pink demon Su Miao standing not far away and immediately gave orders. However, just as they raised their hands and said 3 words, their bodies swayed and fell down. When they opened their eyes again, they appeared off the stage holding glow sticks. What I saw when I looked up was Lin Jiujio and Xiaoxian, the beautiful girl idols, who were full of energy and sparkling incomparably. The healing singing came, and their tense minds relaxed for no reason. And they even had the idea that they had come to the concert in the first place. There was actually a mina playing call under the stage. The sound and gesture made people laugh just by looking at it. It's so damn fun.
Hi! Hi! Hi!
The sound of his subordinates frantically making calls came, which made Bian Dakue and Cheng Jifeng feel a little embarrassed. It seemed that they were the only 2 people at the scene who did not follow suit.
Hi! Hi! Hi!
They started calling. As for why you came here and why you watched the beautiful girl concert here, it doesn't matter anymore.
What the hell does this happen?
A little further away, the clones of Bian Dakue and Cheng Jifeng were horrified when they saw the sudden appearance of the concert stage. They are here to kill the Pink Devil. Why are they here at this concert? What's even more terrifying is the people who are making crazy calls. Their faces are full of happiness and joy. And they turn into light spots and disappear out of thin air. From the time the call was made to the time they dissipated, these people showed no consciousness or resistance at all.
Retreat first.
The Ndakue's clone gave the order and wanted to take the unaffected people out of this dangerous area first. Xia Xian on the stage sang a song, blinked her eyes, and made a super cute gesture. People far away from the stage listened to the order and retreated, which actually turned into advancing. After taking a few steps, they blinked, and someone appeared off the stage holding a light stick. A few seconds later, they followed the rhythm of the mina and started calling frantically.
Hi! Hi! Hi!
In the field, as more and more people turned into points of light. Su Miao, who was listening to the singing, felt that the magic power in her body began to recover rapidly. The mental power consumed in order to control more and more undead was also replenished in a very short period of time.
Kill!
Su Miao gave orders to the controlled undead. They immediately took action and saw the Yenching ability users lying on the ground, regardless of their original bodies or clones, and killed them all while preserving their bodies. A few minutes later, 1,300 undead appeared outside the concert area. Among them, there are more than 300 elite undead, affected by the special mechanism. The copies of Yenching's ability users were still being refreshed one after another, and then they fell down one after another and were transformed into undead by Su Miao. More than 10 minutes later, the total number of undead under Su Miao's control exceeded 2,000, and the number continued to increase. When the number of undead approached 3,000, the replication stopped. A weak ability user was teleported over and was instantly killed by the undead. Su Miao looked at the newly appeared corpse and blinked. Is this the rule that the strange space cannot modify the generation of clones?
Damn pink devil. Want to leave here? Kill her and you can leave. Do you want to become a god? Kill her and you will gain godhood and eternal life. Do you want to have a complete body? Kill her and I will satisfy you immediately. Do you want to dominate the world? Kill her, and I will grant you godhood, giving you the power to dominate the world.
Weird whispers sounded in the ears of the survivors. Sizui grinned. He heard the first words. He scolded the pink demon Su Miao, although it was very slight. Was it because the pink demon had broken his defense?
Evil god, the price you offer is too low. It will be difficult for me to do things for you. And don't try to control my mind with your despicable methods. Can you do something new? Damn!
The weird whispers suddenly stopped in Si-Sin's ears. Sizui said,
Don't leave. I know you are nearby. Can you come out and see me? We can talk in detail.
He raised his hand, and the dark sin erupted, eroding the surrounding space, causing the yellow sand in the area to disappear, replaced by the familiar underground palace and familiar temple.
Look!
This is my power. Can I negotiate a price reduction?
There were strange fluctuations in the temple, and it screamed,
Human, how dare you deceive me?
Sizui smiled gently.
Cheating? No. It's you who is deceiving me. Are you trying to control me with just a drop of divine blood?
Chapter 283 Evil God holds a grudge. A drop of divine blood manifested in Si-Sin's dark realm of sin. It turned into a human form and attacked violently. But the moment it appeared, the shadow spikes generated by countless sins penetrated the divine blood. The next second, the dark sin drowned and swallowed up this drop of divine blood. The entire temple fell into darkness at this moment. After 30 seconds, the darkness disappeared. Si-Sin, who had successfully captured a drop of divine blood, pressed one hand on the black code, and his aura surged throughout his body.
Mortal, if you dare to swallow my divine blood, I will curse you to be riddled with plague, your whole body to fester, and never to recover.
An invisible shadow of the evil god appeared in the sky above the throne of the temple. He stared angrily at Si-Sin and cursed. Sizui smiled.
Evil god, you are not so stupid as to think that I am using my body to digest your divine blood. Are you? Look, what is this?
The strange dark sin unfolded behind Si-Sin, like a twisted and indescribable shadow. God only knows what a human being can do to control such deep sin. No matter what kind of gods or demons they are, they have to shy away from such sins, for fear of being contaminated by the slightest carelessness. Evil God Phantom was furious. A long time ago, a mortal Huitsubing swept across the Mabe grassland, destroying the altar where herdsmen worshipped him, and destroyed his faith. This made him very angry, so he came in person despite the obstruction of his friends. He was then killed by Witsubing in the temple. In order to be resurrected, he spent 2,000 years using all means to accumulate strength. Until 100 years ago, he had a chance. Who knew that the clone made too much noise and caused several nuclear explosions, causing him to fall into silence again. Mortals don't talk about martial ethics. Fortunately, more than 100 years later, the end of the world came, and the opportunity for his resurrection finally came. After the end of the world, people with powerful abilities often fall into the underground palace, and are used by him to live and die in their clones, becoming the source of energy for his resurrection. But today is different. First, a starlight bloom of the pink devil destroyed the darkness covering the desert, causing his hundreds of years of accumulation to be instantly emptied, and causing his remaining soul to suffer unimaginable trauma. The pink demon Sumiao became the second human being hated by the evil god after Witsubing. The power controlled by the pink demon threatens his existence, and any mortal who can kill him must die. Secondly, it is this sin, having control over such profound sins. Don't you worry about when you will be completely swallowed up by sins? Too disgusting. So perverted. In his era, when seeing such profound sins, the first reaction was to destroy them. If they could not be destroyed, they would be sealed. Sizue said, "One drop of divine blood is too little. You can give me a few more drops. Maybe I will be willing to help you get rid of the pink demon Sumiao. If possible." The evil god Shadow now wants to hit Sin. "Mortal, do you still want to deceive me?" But the power he had accumulated for thousands of years needed to be used for resurrection, and could not be consumed in fearless battles. He endured it. Sizue smiled slightly. "Well, for the sake of the drop of divine blood you gave me, I will give you some top-secret information. You encouraged so many ability users in the underground palace to kill the pink demon Sumiao. Right? Is it because of the destructive magic she released earlier? If your guess is correct, her magic has further damaged your origin, and can even destroy you in this world, completely obliterated from the world." The evil god Shadow was furious. His purpose was actually revealed directly by this mortal. He had estimated that when the pink demon Sumiao faced him and used Starlight Bloom, he could directly kill him. Such a dangerous human being must not be kept alive, and must be killed before she grows up. Also, he holds a grudge. Anyone who dares to harm him must die, Sizue said. In addition, anyone who agrees to kill the pink demon's ability person will invisibly enter into a contract with you. Even if they die in the hands of the pink demon, their flesh and blood power can be successfully copied by you, and they can even be resurrected by you. The origin of it. Is that so? Otherwise, wouldn't it be better to just copy a strong person like me? This illustrates one thing. For the weak, regardless of whether they agree or not, you can force a contract and copy, but the strong cannot, unless you are willing to spend immeasurable costs. But this will affect your resurrection plan. The evil god's phantom burst out with extremely strong killing intent. Sin held the black code in his hand and looked gentle. "You don't have to show such strong murderous intent to me. I'm just telling the truth. Besides, this is what you told me. There is a trace of life in a drop of divine blood. This shows that I really want to be resurrected." The evil god Shadow erupted with an extremely terrifying aura. But as soon as this aura broke out, the silver spear in the center of the temple began to vibrate, as if it was about to completely revive and crucify these evil gods again. The evil god's phantom instantly suppressed his aura. "Mortal, you are deceiving me again!" The silver gun returned to normal, as if it had never exploded. The evil god was afraid of the silver spear left by Witsubing. Otherwise, he would not have been imprisoned here for more than 2,000 years. Sizue smiled and said calmly, "You triggered this yourself, and it has nothing to do with me." The evil god Shadow just stared at Sizue and said nothing. Sizue said, "Benevolence and righteousness do not make a deal. Let's get back to the point. The pink demon Sumiao just released a devastating attack magic not long ago, but she never released it after she fell into your predicament. Right. This illustrates a problem. This kind of magic that can hurt you consumes a lot of money. She is currently in the stage of recovering her magic power. The period of time during which pink demon Sumiao recovers her magic power will be your chance. But when her magic power recovers, it will be your doom. If I were you, I would let the pink demon Sumiao leave as soon as possible, even if she comes back and bombards her a few more times afterwards. As long as she is alive, she has a chance. Right." What Sin said was the truth, and it was the best advice to the evil god. However, the other party happens to be an evil god.
As long as you give the best advice to the other party will definitely not adopt it. Because, in the few confrontations just now, Zui had a thorough understanding of the evil god's character. How to say it specifically? If the evil god was in a complete state, he might be able to see through his methods easily. But unfortunately, this evil god is incomplete and incomplete. In addition, Sin analyzed a huge secret from the harvested divine blood. The so-called evil god is essentially a person. At least, once was one. This explains why the evil god was killed by Huitsubing. As long as a person is involved in a battle between people, no matter how powerful he is, he can be killed. Right? In addition, through this drop of divine blood, Sin saw the future of those with abilities. Their plans have always been on the right track. The evil god stared at the smiling Sin. Feeling that Sin was becoming more and more dangerous for some reason, his figure twisted and disappeared. The dark and twisted sins converged. Part of them sank into the shadow of Sin, and part of them were included in the black code. He looked around. The evil god left, and the clone did not appear. It seems that this silver gun is left here. Huitsubing's silver spear. Zui looked at the silver gun and looked away. This is a real god-killing gun. But it's a pity that it doesn't belong to him. Next, he should find a way to find the seal and leave. Otherwise, when the pink demon Sumiao really breaks out, it might spread here. Lin Jiujiu's concert continued, and Xiaoxuan, who was wearing singing clothes, began to adapt to the rhythm on the stage and started singing and dancing along with it. Although Lin Jiujiu still leads him in singing and dancing most of the time, this full of vitality and happiness is real. It's really fun to be on this stage. Outside the stage, Sumiao felt that her magic power had recovered by 30%. If she continued to wait for a while, she would be able to use Starlight Bloom again. There are more than 3,000 undead here. Half of them are undead elites, which can definitely buy her more time. Boom! Suddenly, a figure appeared out of thin air, and the undead crouching around were cut and shattered out of thin air before they had time to react. The city lord of Yanqing, Wu Ji, came forcefully. I didn't want to come originally. He stood on one foot on ahead. He glanced around and saw the ability users in Yanqing who had become undead and their clones. There was no joy or anger on their faces. The end is coming. I became an ability user. But I also lost the most important thing as a human being. I established Yanqing just to lead some people to survive in this resource-poor desert. However, they lifted me to this position so that I cannot shrink back to Yanqing. I want to become stronger and become the only god for everyone in Yanqing. The artifacts in the underground palace give us hope. The nearby undead elites and ordinary undead opened fire on Wu Ji, surrounding and killing him. Wu Ji pulled out a soft sword from his waist, and the soft sword cut through the void. The surrounding air shattered like a mirror, and the undead that rushed towards him were cut and shattered by invisible abilities. His ability is simply cutting, and he can cut anything within range. At the same time, 6 flying needles were sent out, piercing the body of an undead elite who was about to rush in front of him. With a slight pull, the undead elite exploded into pieces. Speaking of which, this undead elite was once his right-hand deputy, Manager Bien Dakue. After killing the men who became undead, Wu Ji could not see any sadness on his face. While killing, he said, by seizing the divine object, a real god will be born in Yanqing, and we will have a steady supply of food. We will no longer have to worry and struggle for the end. But no one expected that you, the pink demon Sumiao, would appear here. I just want the divine object, and I don't want to fight you at all. You are too dangerous. But all my men were dead, and he had given too much. So I had to come. With the sound of soft swords, many undead souls that were attacking Wu Ji were crushed again. Sumiao stood in the distance, looking at Wu Ji who was walking towards her step by step, with a puzzled look on her face. Who are you? She didn't ask. The alloy staff moved forward a little, and the magic beam burst out, forcing Wu Ji to retreat. This eunuch's ability to control seems to be able to cut anything. The opponent will also launch flying needle sneak attacks. The 3-layer magic barrier she deployed was easily broken through by these flying needles, which was quite dangerous. Fortunately, she habitually deployed the magic space array to easily intercept and recover these flying needles. The undead charged several times, but were all cut and shattered by Wu Ji. Seeing that this attack was ineffective, Bien Dakue, Zheng Jinfeng and other undead elites immediately changed their fighting methods. They adjusted their formation to let the undead collectively release their abilities and launch a long-range attack on Wu Ji.
Boom boom boom. In an instant, the two sides broke into a melee. Wu Ji rushed left and right among the undead, destroying countless undead, but was unable to break out of the encirclement. What's worse is that the pink demon Su Miao has no martial ethics at all. From time to time, he will throw ice arrows and magic beams to block his movement, making him in danger. Trying to get close to the pink demon Su Miao has become impossible. As for the flying needles it sent out, the pink demon obviously didn't seem to dodge, but nothing happened at all. How on earth did she do it? Pink Devil, as a strong man, don't you dare to fight me head-on? Wu Ji shouted loudly. Su Miao waved the alloy staff and sent more than 30 ice arrows in response. Why fight alone when you can fight in a group? Scared. If she didn't need to reserve some magic power to release the Starlight Bloom, she would give this unique ability user a purple fireball right now. Su Miao glanced at Lin Jiujiu and Xia Xiaoan on the stage, thinking about whether to let them try. But she quickly gave up the idea. There was no need to keep enemies who could be eliminated quickly. However, they can be involved. Boom boom boom. The undead elites attacked tirelessly. Wu Ji could hold on at the beginning, but these undead elites were too strong. What's even more hateful is that many of these undead elites look the same, and they were clearly copied from this strange space. Damn evil god. This is nothing. The undead elite, his capable deputy who has killed him time and time again, seems to be becoming more and more familiar with his abilities. In particular, the weakness of this ability is that after cutting for a certain number of times, the ability will slow down to a certain extent. This is like those masters in martial arts movies and TV dramas. When they continue to output, they need a short period of time to recover. Gas. Normally, such a weakness is not a weakness at all, because no one could force him into a desperate situation where he could not recover. But Wu Ji met the pink demon Su Miao and was surrounded by thousands of undead elites, and was on the verge of despair. Also, there is something wrong with the attacks of these undead elites. It's underground. Wu Ji noticed the problem. Boom! Multiple undead elites, with the same appearance underground blasted through the yellow sand and rushed out. Wu Ji swung his soft sword, and the sound of the sword shattered, cutting and blasting these undead elites. With a flick of his hand, flying needles were sent out, crushing several undead elites who tried to attack from a distance. At the same time, he stepped on the ground, and the long yellow sand interfered with the ice arrows that Su Miao was attacking. Wu Ji took advantage of this opportunity to avoid them in a narrow way. If he hesitated even a little bit in the dangerous situation just now, he would be injured and the consequences would be disastrous. Suddenly, Wu Ji suddenly felt in a trance. He saw the stage in the distance, and heard the singing of Lin Jiujiu and Xia Xiaoan. He felt that his whole body was healed, and he felt relaxed mentally for no reason. At this moment, an undead elite with extremely fast speed suddenly came to Wu Ji. Wu Ji woke up and tried to dodge, but it was too late. The poison dagger pierced his skin. Damn it! He raised his hand and pointed at the undead elite, causing the undead elite to explode on the spot. When he looked down, he saw that the wound on his arm was black. Pink Devil, you use poison. You are despicable and shameless. Wu Ji cut away the flesh and blood of the wound at an extremely fast speed, trying to delay the spread of the poison as much as possible. Even with this emergency treatment, Wu Ji was worried that the toxin would spread quickly in the blood. The best way to deal with it was to bleed some blood. But he didn't have the time, and the Pink Devil wouldn't give him this chance. Su Miao was slightly startled when she looked at Wu Ji, who directly cut off a piece of flesh and blood from his body without blinking. Use poison? No. However, Wu Ji's words inspired her to let these undead soak the weapons they carried in the poisonous mixed potion liquid later. In addition, with this wave of continuous attacks, Su Miao originally wanted to push Wu Ji to the limit and just create a few wounds on Wu Ji's body. Unexpectedly, Wu Ji directly turned the slight wounds into gaps. The bleeding wouldn't stop. The alloy staff pointed towards Wu Ji. Immediately, blood flowed out of Wu Ji's wound like a waterfall, directly satisfying Wu Ji's desire to bleed and detoxify. The sudden change caused Wu Ji's expression to change drastically. To make matters worse, the nearby undead elites continued to kill without fear of death. Unable to regain his breath, Wu Ji was able to fight back wildly at the beginning, killing one undead after another. However, after 3 minutes, he lost too much blood and could no longer hold on. Pink Devil! Wu Ji frantically attacked in the direction of Su Miao. The poison quench dagger, the weird abilities, the sharp bones, and the messy swords all pierced into Wu Ji's body. Wu Ji, who was covered in blood,
was nailed to the spot. He looked blankly at the undead that continued to attack, as well as the pink demon Su Miao, who was holding an alloy staff in the distance and never took another step. Wu Ji smiled sadly. He is the city lord of Yanqing, the only god in the eyes of many ability users, and one of the overlords in this desolate desert. Facing this doomsday world, Wu Ji thought of many possibilities, but he did not expect such an ending. A magic beam bombarded Wu Ji's head. The headless body covered in blood collapsed. Wu Ji is dead. The injured undead elite almost immediately reached out to swallow Wu Ji's blood and carve up Wu Ji's bones. After a blink of an eye, the auras of several undead elites in the field became stronger. Su Miao felt relieved. What surprised her was, but why didn't new copies appear? When Wu Ji died, his body was barely complete. This is very strange. Su Miao also hopes to brush up a wave of clones. In this way, she can have a group of very powerful undead elites. After all, compared to the original body, she only needs to block the refresh point and time to kill the clone instantly. The result is not brushed. In this way, wouldn't the undead elite she just lost be a total loss? Su Miao counted and found that in order to kill the eunuch Wu Ji, she lost 188 undead elites and more than 600 ordinary undead, and gained only 16 undead elites who had evolved. Overall, it was a loss.
Soak your weapons.
With a wave of the alloy staff, Su Miao took out a pool, placed a large water ball in the pool, and poured some highly toxic mixed medicine into it. The undead holding cold weapons immediately lined up and sank the weapons into the pool to quench the poison. Su Miao looked into the distance, expecting the next enemy to appear. She needs more undead. Chapter 284. Is the evil god an accomplice of the witch? Replication requires energy. Within the scope of the rules, copying consumes more of the energy of the body. The evil god does not need to pay much. And on the contrary, he can still make some money. However, Su Miao not only killed the copy target's body, but also turned the body into an undead. In this way, the consumption of each copy becomes the energy reserved by the evil god. For this reason, in order to prevent Su Miao from consuming his energy, the evil god had to modify the rules of the underground palace to make the replication controllable. Fortunately, the rules were revised in time. Otherwise, when the rules of the underground palace began to copy Wu Ji, it would be difficult for the evil god to imagine how horribly fast the energy he had worked so hard to reserve would drain away. He could see clearly that the damn pink demon was eager to take action after killing Wu Ji. It was so hateful. It doesn't matter. He has another way. That is to forcibly transfer all the rats and thieves who broke into the underground palace to the pink devil. This process may cost him another drop of divine blood. But as long as he can kill the pink demon, everything will be worth it. A strange darkness suddenly fell, and Sharin, Chai Fakian and others suddenly felt that the air had become thicker. A powerful force was injected into their bodies, and it was difficult to reject it.
Mortals, I give you power to make you stronger. I give you a curse to create a crisis for you. Now, kill her and you can leave alive. Otherwise, die in pain under the curse. You guys can't refuse. Jia jia jia.
The voice of the evil god rang in the ears of the survivors. Everyone's expressions changed drastically. He was threatening not to leave before, but now he's just issuing a curse?
Where's my share?
Si Sin, who stayed in the temple, asked. He heard the evil god's whisper, but he didn't feel any power, let alone any curse, because there is Wutsubing silver spear here. Si Sin is full of sins, and the evil god can't even get away, let alone curse him. The evil god ignored him. He is working hard to send the cursed ability users to the location of the pink demon Su Miao. The curse he casts is a plague. As long as one person attacks Su Miao and breathes out, the plague curse can be transmitted to the pink demon Su Miao and kill her. Jia jia jia. More than 2,000 years ago, he who was pierced by a silver spear killed Wutsubing in this way. It will definitely work this time. Bone Crocodile from Beisha prison was the first to be teleported over. As soon as he appeared, he looked at the ferocious undead around him, and his whole body felt numb. It would have been terrifying enough to ask him to kill the pink demon Su Miao, but who knew that this evil god would not do anything about people and directly teleport people into a pile of undead.
I have a magical object. Please spare my life.
Fongu took out the sandalwood box containing the seal from the storage device and knelt down. According to the evil god, there is a curse on his body, so touching this sandalwood box will definitely smear the curse on it, right? In this way, as long as the pink devil takes the box, his mission will be completed. Then, he can be teleported away immediately. Right? Phone Crocodile thought so in his heart. There is no other way. After all, who would have thought that he would be standing in the center of a bunch of undead just after being teleported? Even though he is big, and he usually pretends to be crazy and naive, his heart is more delicate than anyone else. And he has more tricks than anyone else. Otherwise, he would not be able to think out of the blue and come up with such a clever plan in such a dangerous situation in an instant. Click. Standing next to Phone Crocodile, the undead elite with scarlet eyes raised his knife and cut off Phone Crocodile's head. Phone Crocodile's head rolled in the sand, his eyes full of incomprehension. His perfect plan was exposed? What Phone Crocodile didn't know was that in Su Miao's eyes, it didn't matter whether there was a plan or not. What she saw was more and more intense malice. Such strangers would only stop being scary if they turned into corpses. Su Miao looked at the corpse and the sandalwood box that fell to the ground, but did not use the resurrection of the dead, because the weapons of the undead are all quenched. The corpse may all rot, and even the bones will rot away. There is no point in becoming an undead. Of course, if there are enough copies. Su Miao blinked. The evil god did not help copy. Obviously the aura of this ability user seemed very strong, and she really wanted to make more copies. Your Highness! An undead picked up the sandalwood box and knelt down on one knee outside the concert area where Lin Jiujiu unfolded. Su Miao pointed her staff and used her mage's hand to grab the sandalwood box. Blue flames burst out, burning the sandalwood box into ashes. A mysterious Western Han Dynasty seal appeared in midair. The seal has a very powerful aura. What's Yubing's seal? Su Miao looked confused. She put the seal into the magic space without touching the seal with her hands during the whole process. Before they had time to take a closer look, new ability users were teleported over. After they landed, they saw the undead around them with blank expressions. Have so many people been teleported here? Stable. The pink devil is there! Someone shouted. He seemed to want the others to go first. However, the people around him were motionless. When he looked carefully, he realized that they were all undead. The undead took action boldly and quickly harvested the lives of these ability users. Su Miao breathed a sigh of relief watching the battle between the undead and the ability users. Fortunately, she had prepared more undead, and all the strangers with strange abilities who came were blocked. Otherwise, it would have been terrible for many strangers full of malicious intent to rush towards her. It's just that this weird space is so abominable that it won't be copied. Your Highness the Witch! Spare your life! Spare your life! We were all forced! Don't kill me! Don't kill me! I still want to live! Usually, people with powerful abilities, who are aloof from above will beg for mercy with tears in their eyes, hoping to survive by chance. Why kill the pink demon? Now let alone getting close to Su Miao. The undead in front of him can kill them countless times. Not to mention that the weapons in the hands of these undead are poisonous. Su Miao didn't need to take action. After 10 minutes, all the teleported ability users were killed. Some corpses rotted directly into highly toxic liquid. The highly toxic liquid flowed, and even the sand was corroded away. Su Miao looked at these highly toxic liquids and wondered if they could corrode this illusion. She just thought so. Su Miao looked forward, and another powerful person appeared. The leader of Beisha prison. Sha Ren has committed enough crimes to be shot hundreds of times before the end of the world. Chai Fakian likes to turn people into stone, silver and gold statues. As soon as the two men appeared, the nearby undead immediately attacked them. A large amount of quicksand appeared around Sha Ren, crushing all the undead that came over. Chai Fakian's movements were simpler. Invisible ripples spread out. The undead at a close distance turned into stone statues. Those a little further away turned into silver statues, and those further away turned into gold statues. Only a few undead elites retreated in time to avoid them, ended up turning into a statue. As expected of a pink devil, worthy of a witch. Chai Fakian opened his mouth, ready to say something, but just halfway through speaking, Su Miao's attack arrived. Hundreds of ice arrows roared and attacked, forcing Chai Fakian to shut up. Chai Fakian raised his hand to make the surrounding stone, silver, and gold statues fly up to block the dense ice arrows. Bang, bang, bang. In the blink of an eye, all these undead statues were shattered by Su Miao's ice arrows. Chai Fakian's expression darkened. As expected, the witch's attacks were always indiscriminate, and she didn't care about the lives of these undead. Su Miao's attack had just ended when another undead elite nearby came to kill them without fear of death. Chai Fakian once again used his power to seal these undead souls into stone statues.
Which, I mean no harm,
he shouted, trying to buy some time. It takes a lot of energy to seal an enemy into a stone, silver or gold statue. Although at the limit, it is not much pressure for Chai Fakian to turn all the undead present into statues. But it is hard to say if there is a pink demon nearby who attacks from time to time. So, the target is changed to two little girls holding a concert in this weird space. Chai Fakian looked at Lin Jiujiu and Xia Shiran on the concert stage behind Su Miao, and immediately looked away after just one glance. Too dangerous. How can there be such singing in the apocalyptic world? It almost made me let down my guard. This was the witch's conspiracy. His expression was gloomy. According to the original expectation, it was not impossible to agree to the weird evil god to kill the pink demon. But the evil god provided so many undead souls to the witch Su Miao, which was really unbearable. Looking at the identical outfits and identical faces of these undead, you can tell that they are clones. The clone was killed by the witch and turned into an undead. Too disgusting. In other words, to kill Su Miao, you must first clear away the undead in front of you.
Sha Ren, cooperate and clear out these undead first.
Chai Fakian sealed several approaching undead souls into stone statues, came near Sha Ren and said. Sha Ren manipulated the quicksand and seemed to be able to navigate the undead with ease. But in fact, he was almost injured by several undead elites. Lao Yinbi. Judging from their appearance, they were clearly those dead eunuchs from Yinqing. This made Sharon feel even more disgusting.
Good.
Sha Ren used the quicksand condensed into a fist and slammed down, slamming the head of an undead elite into the chest. After receiving such heavy damage, a person with ordinary abilities would have died long ago. But this undead elite just shook his body and continued to attack Sha Ren. Su Miao frowned slightly as she looked at Sha Ren and Chai Fakian, who were besieged by the undead. The aura and strength displayed by these two people were on the same level as the Yinqing Wuji whom she had killed just now, and they were very strong. Against such a powerful ability user, it would be difficult for a sneak attack to be effective when the opponent is on guard. A better approach is to let the undead engage in real combat first. Su Miao decided to observe it first. Judging from the current methods used by the opponent, Sha Ren's ability is to control quicksand, and Chai Fakian's ability is to seal the enemy into a statue. Sha Ren's ability is somewhat understandable, but Chai Fakian's ability is incredible. Sealing into a stone statue can be understood as petrification. But how are gold and silver statues transformed? Su Miao blinked, thinking that the magic she controlled was incredible. So it seemed that it was not incomprehensible to be sealed into a gold or silver statue.
Which, let's talk about it. Can you clearly see the curse on us?
Sha Ren defeated several undead elites and took the time to shout loudly.
As long as you can help me lift the curse, we can deal with the evil god together.
Curse? Su Miao tightened her cold expression. She doesn't even have much clue in the research of magic, let alone the curse of the evil god. In addition, the malice between these two people was so strong that it almost overwhelmed this space. How could she believe their proposal?
Kill!
Su Miao said. The few undead elites, who had just eaten Wu Ji's corpse, flashed scarlet eyes. They were mixed in with the ordinary undead, and their scarlet eyes were locked on Sha Ren and Chai Fakian. Their purpose is very clear, which is to cause wounds on Sha Ren and Chai Fakian. Even extremely small wounds. The poison given by His Highness can solve the remaining problems. Unlike other undead, when quenching the poison, they specially asked for ceramic jars and plastic bags from His Highness Su Miao, and filled some poisonous water for later use. They don't mind splashing the poison on their targets if given the chance. Even if they can't do this, they don't mind turning themselves into poisonous water bombs and dying together with their targets.
Kill! Kill! Kill!
Sha Ren manipulated the quicksand and killed batch after batch of undead that rushed over. He killed with unprecedented pleasure. This reckless man. Chai Fakian spread ripples and sealed several troublesome undead elites into silver statues. With such uncontrolled consumption of power, if all these undead souls are really eliminated, how much power will be left to kill the witch? The witch has not said a word until now, and it is clear that she wants to kill them. And the evil god and the witch are fighting to the death. Why don't they just take action? This is even weirder. In other words, the witch Su Miao is so powerful that even the evil gods are afraid of her. Danger? While thinking, the two undead elites suddenly rushed to Chai Fakian and shot several silver needles, and they were in front of him in an instant. Chai Fakian shouted in a deep voice, and the airflow around his body changed suddenly, and a sharp stone knife and stone sword was formed out of thin air. and he blocked the flying needle with almost every chance.
Court death.
Invisible ripples spread, and Chai Fakian wanted to stone the opponent. But the person who actually stoned him turned into an ordinary undead. The undead that attacked him had already changed positions, escaped into the group of undead, and disappeared. The danger level of the attack just now was close to that of Wu Ji and Yinqing. Evil God. Even such a dangerous ability user is copied and transformed into an undead for the witch to kill. Chai Fakian was extremely angry. If the evil god was willing to show his face, he would immediately abandon the undead around him and turn to attack the evil god. If the evil god hadn't spent so much money, he would have doubted whether the evil god and the witch were cooperating to trap them.
Be careful. There are dangerous undead,
Chai Fakian reminded. As soon as he finished speaking, two extremely dangerous undead elites had broken through the quicksand controlled by Sha Ren and reached him. Sha Ren snorted coldly, and without dodging, he actually pressed the heads of the two undead elites with both hands. Suddenly, the two undead elites were unable to move. Chai Fakian looked at this outrageous scene in astonishment. Sha Ren's recklessness and strength were far beyond his expectation.
Don't think that I haven't seen you. It's just you grandsons who have been hiding in the dark and staring at me. I have been waiting for you. If you are conscious, can speak, and can command, then you can mentally wash away your sins.
Sha Ren grinned and seemed to turn into a demon-like existence in front of the two undead elites. Countless evil wills are instilled into the bodies of the undead elites. The undead elites were still struggling at first, but after struggling for a moment, the scarlet gaze in their eyes faded and turned into pure black. They stood beside Sha Ren numbly, and easily defeated several ordinary undead who wanted to continue attacking Sha Ren.
Ha ha ha! I knew it could!
Sha Ren laughed loudly and said,
"Witch, your undead souls belong to me."
Chai Fakian was greatly surprised. Sha Ren, the leader of Beisha prison, could even control the ghost of the witch. He was really not that cruel. In addition, judging from what Sha Ren just said, Sha Ren can use this method to manipulate anyone. No wonder people in this desert show fear when talking about Beisha prison. No wonder those who have the ability to believe in and uphold justice. All those who go to Beisha prison are either killed or become a member of Beisha prison. It turns out that it is Sha Ren's ability. With such an ability, even he might be controlled by Sha Ren if he is not careful. After things here are over, this Sha Ren cannot stay. But which Su Miao's expression was still cold. Did she not react? Or did she not care? Or,
be careful of the undead you control,
Chai Fakian shouted loudly. But it's already too late. Su Miao held the alloy staff and moved forward. The weapons of the two undead elites suddenly turned and broke through Sha Ren's quicksand defense, causing several minor wounds on Sha Ren's body. It is true that the undead elites she created can have their own consciousness, and it is within the scope of theory that these consciousnesses can be controlled. However, the fundamental reason why these undead can exist lies in her magic. Without magic, they are just corpses. Therefore, it doesn't matter if she can't control her consciousness. She can still achieve her goal by directly controlling her body. Simply put, she has the highest authority to control these undead. No one can take it away.
Damn it!
Sharon was furious. He didn't expect that his excitement would put him in danger. The defense just now was strong enough and timely. But because he used his spirit to cleanse his sins, his ability was consumed too much and there were some gaps. I thought that the powerful undead elites newly controlled would buy him time. But it turned out that they were the biggest crisis. Boom! Sha Ren defeated two undead elites. The moment it exploded, the ceramic water jar carried by the undead elite exploded, and poisonous water splashed all over Sha Ren. Chai Fakian's expression changed, and he quickly retreated to avoid the area where the poisonous water splashed. The bleeding wouldn't stop. Su Miao held the staff and pointed it towards Sha Ren. In an instant, the small wounds on Sha Ren's body turned into large wounds, and dark blood rushed out like smelly water.
Ah!
Sha Ren wailed miserably.
Witch, I will kill you!
He fully exploded his ability, releasing all the quicksand in the space storage device he carried, completely turning his body into sand, becoming part of the quicksand, and then turning into a quicksand giant more than 10 meters tall. Boom! The terrifying momentum exploded, blasting away all nearby undead. Chai Fakian retreated again and again, feeling shocked in his heart. He had heard that some people with abilities could transform into incomprehensible monsters, such as Balrogs and rock giants in desperate situations. But he had never seen them with his own eyes, and he didn't expect to encounter them here. Witch, how will you respond this time? Chai Fakian looked at Su Miao, becoming more and more confused. Why is the devil's expression still cold? Without any fluctuation? Chapter 285 Double Kill. Seeing the quicksand giant coming towards him, Su Miao took a step to the left, avoiding the attack, and allowed the quicksand giant's sand fist to attack Lin Jiujiu and Xia Xiaoan on the concert stage. Chai Fakian was stunned. Shouldn't the witch Su Miao protect the two people behind her? What's the situation? Witch! The quicksand giant roared. The damn pink devil actually avoided it. Did he stand there just now to intimidate them intentionally? In this case, kill two little girls and make the pink devil regret it. Facing such a terrifying quicksand giant, Lin Jiujiu and Xia Xiaoan were so frightened that they almost squatted down on the stage and shivered. However, the quicksand giant's attack was so fast that what happened next was completely unexpected. When the quicksand giant's sand fist attacks within a certain range, its huge body suddenly falls apart. Sharon's broken soul appeared off the concert stage. He still kept pumping his fist, which looked very funny. Seeing this scene, Lin Jiujiu and Xia Xiaoan immediately understood, and they started singing the next song. Listening to the energetic singing, Sharon felt very healed and couldn't help but feel relaxed. The devilish calling gesture of Bago in front of the stage was so engrossing in his mind that he couldn't help but want to follow suit. But his reason told him that this is a trap. It's poison. Only by killing the two girls on the stage can one escape from this predicament. Kill! Sharon tried to control the quicksand attack. However, in the realm of Lin Jiujiu's concert, with the green grass under the stage, where did the quicksand come from? What's even more troublesome is that without the support of the physical body and the body of the quicksand giant, the soul cursed by the evil god appears extremely fragile in Lin Jiujiu's domain. Sharon struggled many times, but failed every time. This song can heal my soul. And maybe it can also lift the curse on me. Yes. Let me accept your healing. And when I recover, I will kill you again. Listening to the singing and looking at the energetic little idol, Sharon experienced unprecedented happiness. He felt that his body was filled with happiness, and his soul even became stronger and stronger. And he was about to get rid of the curse of the evil god. However, Sharon didn't know that such thoughts were just hints planted by Xia Xiaoan. After all, Sharon is a very powerful ability user, and it is rare for him to be able to maintain such strength in Lin Jiujiu's domain with only his soul left. A few minutes later, Sharon off the stage followed Bago to make a call. His soul began to glow, and bits and pieces of light floated out, dissipating into the heaven and earth. Su Miao withdrew her gaze, pointed the staff downward, and released the ice magic, freezing the sand. Because Sharon was poisoned by a mixture of poisons when he had a physical body, and when he transformed into quicksand, he naturally carried these poisons into the quicksand, causing the remaining sand on the ground to be highly poisonous and untouchable. In this case, it would be safer to use ice to isolate it. Even with this layer of protection, Su Miao maintained a certain height from the ground when standing. To be honest, the quicksand giant that Sharon transformed into in the end was really strong. It would take a lot of magic power to blow it up. But in this case, it means that Sharon has really lost his body. Only his soul is attached to the quicksand and will be sucked in. Lin Jiujiu's field has become very simple. If Sharon's body is not poisoned and still has a physical body, then even if Sharon enters Lin Jiujiu's domain, he can probably persist for a long time with his own will like Lan Zhong and Si Li. There was only one person left with the evil in front of him. Su Miao looked at Chai Fakian with cold eyes. Chai Fakian is currently facing the siege of the undead elite. The quicksand giant that Sharon transformed into once brought him surprise and hope. But the witch's cold eyes made him uneasy. Chai Fakian didn't expect that this uneasiness would arise. The terrifying quicksand giant instantly collapsed, and even Sha Ren's soul appeared under the strange stage to make a call. While making a call, it turned into a point of light and disappeared. Sha Ren didn't feel anything about his disappearance. It's ridiculous that he just tried to capture these two girls and use them to blackmail the witch. Roar! The nearby undead roared and came to Chai Fakian again. Without Sha Ren's restraint, the undead's attack on Chai Fakian became more and more fierce, especially after seeing the way the undead used poison in the past. It became difficult for Chai Fakian to deal with the undead attacks. Even though Chai Fakian continued to turn the dead into statues, he was gradually at a disadvantage. At the same time, Chai Fakian's malice towards Su Miao became more and more intense. Su Miao clenched the alloy staff in her hand, her expression cold and worried. Fortunately, this weird space allowed her to kill so many undead elites. Otherwise, it would have been too scary to face such a powerful and brutal ability user. The sand suddenly collapsed, and an elite Earth undead ability user suddenly erupted, almost leaving a wound on Chai Fakian. Chai Fakian narrowly avoided danger and turned the undead elite into a stone statue. But just after the crisis was resolved, several more undead elites attacked, almost killing him. The undead elite that had just attacked Sharon took action again.
Evil God! You paid so much just to let me die here?
Chai Fakian shouted.
Give me strength, and I will help you kill the witch.
Invisible ripples spread, and the more than 20 undead that were besieged turned into stone statues, silver statues, and a very few turned into gold statues on the spot. However, one of the undead elites was able to release it on his own after turning into a golden statue. This is one of the undead elites who share Wu Ji. The ability they control is to transform the body into liquid metal. Noticing the appearance of this undead elite, Chai Fakian's expression changed drastically. This ability naturally restrains him. Fortunately, he was far enough away just now. If he was very close, when he was unprepared, the undead elite released the seal and stabbed him. The consequences would be disastrous. Evil God? Su Miao looked into the void, hoping to find some clues. With the help of Lin Jiujiu singing, her magic power is recovering quickly, reaching close to 60%, which is barely enough for a starlight bloom. To be on the safe side, Su Miao hoped to recover more magic power. I have to thank Sharon for this. Sharon took the initiative to send his soul up, happily turning it into a point of light. Otherwise, without enough support from the audience, Lin Jiujiu's stage realm would not be able to last for too long. His soul is strong. Chai Fakian's soul is also very strong. If he can join in to support him, it will be of greater help. However, if the evil god that causes all the weirdness here appears, Su Miao will not hesitate to release the starlight bloom. And let's talk about it. Hearing Chai Fakian's call, unprecedented malice appeared in the void. Su Miao immediately used the alloy staff to aim at the area where the malice appeared, and extremely terrifying magic fluctuations emitted from his body. Before Su Miao could launch an attack, the viciousness of the void dissipated, and Su Miao lost his target. Chai Fakian was shocked. For the first time, he sensed devastating magic fluctuations from Su Miao. He saw Su Miao preparing to attack, but stopped without attacking. At the same time, the power that the evil god was about to inject into him also dissipated. Is this a coincidence? No. This is the witch Su Miao who was just about to attack the evil god. But the evil god ran away. Having received the power from the evil god, Chai Fakian understood how powerful and terrifying the evil god was. So how terrifying would a witch who could scare away the evil god be? In other words, the evil god cursed them and transferred them to the witch Su Miao with no intention of keeping them alive. Chai Fakian looked at the witch Su Miao standing in the distance with a cold expression, and his heart sank. Without the help of the evil god, he only had the last resort left. However, he does not have full control over this ability, and there will be extremely terrible sequelae after using it.
Which, if you have the ability to fight head-on,
Chai Fakian shouted loudly. What responded to him was the undead, and the undead elite who had just released the golden seal came to kill again. Not only that, there are multiple undead elites who look exactly the same participating in the siege. They are not afraid of Chai Fakian's seal. The seals were released one after another, which made Chai Fakian's mentality collapse.
Damn evil god! Damn clone!
Originally, using the seal required a lot of energy, but now that the seal was ineffective, if he continued, sooner or later, he would be consumed by these undead. What's even more hateful is that the way which Su Miao looks at him has not changed, and remains as cold as ever. Chai Fakian didn't understand before, but now he understands. The witch Su Miao is looking at dead people.
I, Chai Fakian, have gone on a rampage and killed countless people. I have never been forced into such a situation.
Chai Fakian's body suddenly erupted with powerful energy fluctuations. Countless metal fragments condensed and swirled around him, and were entangled with the nearby quicksand to form a metal sandstorm tornado, crushing the attacking undead elites.
Which, I will fight with you.
Countless metal fragments were overwhelming, pouring down, and the undead were injured one after another. Even a few super powerful undead were temporarily unable to move in the face of such an attack. Su Miao blinked and looked at the metal sandstorm with confusion. Chai Fakian's malice disappeared? No. In the back, a gap appeared in the void, and Chai Fakian shuttled out of the gap. Countless metal spikes around his body were blasted out, threatening to turn Su Miao into a hedgehog. He had learned some top-secret information about the pink demon Su Miao. A frontal attack will be absorbed by invisible defenses and counterattacked. But an attack from the side or behind will only encounter invisible shields. If these shields are broken instantly, Su Miao can be killed. Chai Fakian didn't expect that he would actually use this information one day. Unfortunately, when using the ability to travel through dimensions, he who pursues speed cannot use the sealing ability. Otherwise the chance of winning will be even higher. But it doesn't matter. In this case, the witch has no chance to use magic. 6 layers of magic shields exploded. Chai Fakian seemed to see Su Miao's whole body being pierced by metal, and blood flowing all over her body, like a waterfall. At this moment, the witch Su Miao turned around, her eyes still cold, as if she was not surprised by his fatal attack. Not only that, Su Miao made an action that he couldn't understand. Su Miao let go of the alloy staff in her hand and drew a circle with both hands. The movement seemed extremely slow, but it was actually completed in an instant. For just a moment, Chai Fakian found that the metal thorn he controlled was frozen in midair by invisible force. What's even more incredible is that he can vaguely see a yin and yang diagram. Infuriating special effects? Which Su Miao is a martial arts master. Chai Fakian showed an expression of extreme fear. So far, there is no information about the witch's martial arts. The most important thing is that ability users at the martial arts master level are far more terrifying than people who simply control powerful abilities. If you are approached by such a being, there is basically no way to survive. Wu Ji, the city lord of Yanqing, is a martial arts master. This is the reason why he avoided Wu Ji before. If it were an ordinary ability user, he would have sealed people into statues long ago. However, Su Miao's infuriating special effects and returning to nature attacks made Chai Fakian feel palpitations, fear, and despair. Despair made Chai Fakian unable to speak a word at this moment. Tai Chi flow returned twice as much. The true energy in Su Miao's body circulated and mixed with the magic power to erupt into even more terrifying power. Boom! In an instant, all the metal thorns condensed by Chai Fakian flew back, pricking Chai Fakian's whole body like a hedgehog. Not only that, the terrifying Tai Chi Shinliu energy blasted into Chai Fakian's body, shattering all the bones in Chai Fakian's body and shattering his internal organs. The air current protecting Chai Fakian's body was unable to provide any effective defense under Su Miao's close-range attack, and even became an accomplice in seriously injuring him. Chai Fakian, who was covered in blood, fell heavily to the sand. Pain, fear, despair, and various emotions were intertwined. He had never thought that death would be so close to him. He never thought that the ultimate blow from the bottom of the box would become his death move. The witch Su Miao is a great martial arts master. This information is too ridiculous. But that's what it is. There was no time to think more. Chai Fakian suddenly felt his body lightened. When he came to his senses, he was already standing under the stage, watching the performances of beautiful girl idols Lin Jiujio and Xia Xiran, and was healed. Tears fell involuntarily, and he waved the light stick in his hand along with the singing, calling for the little idol on the stage.
It turns out that I can also have happiness.
Unknowingly, Chai Fakian's soul turned into dots of light and disappeared. Su Miao looked at Chai Fakian, who had disappeared, and breathed a sigh of relief. She held the alloy staff and swung it forward, and a ball of blue flame fell down. But it dissipated into thin air when it was about to fall. I was frightened just now and accidentally smashed the body with too much force. That means Chai Fakian's physical strength is high enough. If he were a person with ordinary abilities, he would be blown up directly. Although it cannot be transformed into undead, it can be provided to other undead so that they can evolve through Chai Fakian's flesh and blood. The mage's hand fell, grabbed Chai Fakian's body, and threw it into the undead elite center. In order to kill Chai Fakian and Sha Ren, Su Miao only had more than 500 undead elites left, and more than 300 ordinary undead were left, which was a huge loss. However, without the clone refresh, it was impossible to continue to replenish them. Therefore, letting the surviving undead evolve is the best way. When the undead elite saw the fallen corpse, they quickly took action and devoured the corpse in the blink of an eye. A few minutes later, 10 undead with extremely powerful auras appeared in front of Su Miao. The effect seemed to be very good. Chapter 286. Why is there a pink demon outside? Only the evil god is left. Su Miao looked at the long yellow sand and began to search for traces of the evil god, before the evil god used strange darkness to stop them. If Su Miao had known that there was an evil god here, she would have taken Lin Jiujio and Xia Xian away as soon as possible, walking as fast and as far as they wanted. However, the evil god not only used strange darkness to stop her, but also showed extremely strong malice. Even if the evil god wanted to send them away now, Su Miao would not give up. This must be a trick of the evil god. This evil god must be completely killed before Su Miao can continue on her way with peace of mind. Affected by the high-temperature natural disaster, the road ahead was basically desert. No one could guarantee that the evil god would not appear at any time and give her a fatal blow. Normally, those mutated animals, mutated insects, and people with strange abilities that would suddenly appear and attack were scary enough, let alone an evil god. In addition, after the previous battle, Su Miao could confirm that the evil god was afraid of the starlight blooming. With her current strength and the maximum power output of starlight bloom, she can definitely kill the evil god. If the starlight blooms once is not enough, just have starlight bloom several more times. But now there is a problem. There is a long stretch of yellow sand in front of her. How can she break the illusion and find a way out? Directly use starlight bloom? Doing this would make it easier to break the illusion. However, the magic power she had finally accumulated was intended to be used against the evil god. Simply destroying this space would probably be difficult to cause effective damage to the evil god's body.
Dig in the sand! Use your abilities to find anything suspicious and destroy it.
Su Miao turned her eyes to the standing undead and gave them instructions.
Yes, Your Highness!
Several powerful undead elites said. Under the command of the powerful undead, thousands of undead began to work on the sand. The more real the illusion is, the more energy needs to be consumed. Simple destructive destruction can cause damage to the illusion, as can the accumulation of small amounts of damage like ants' homework. It just affects more or less. In addition, Su Miao does not really expect to destroy the illusion with the undead in front of her. She only needs these undead to create some flaws in the illusion, and then she can use the minimum magic power to destroy it. In this way, she can still have enough magic power to use Starlight Bloom to kill the evil god. As night fell, the magical phantom Su Miao looked at the planted saplings in the desert and paused his work.
It's time to replenish the saplings.
Su Miao looked behind the willow tree corridor. Previously, the main body and she had been able to sense each other's specific coordinates. But an hour ago, they suddenly could no longer sense the main body. The body seems to be in trouble. However, since she believed in the ability of the main body, she did not investigate and just continued the task of planting trees. However, it is no longer okay now. The saplings are gone, and the main body must be found to replenish it. However, the main body has lost contact. The main body must have encountered some incomprehensible trouble, just like the strange darkness that appeared in the distance a few hours ago. Su Miao gave an acceleration spell to the undead who arranged to plant trees, allowing them to return along the willow tree corridor. Her figure flashed and she followed him. More than 10 minutes later, Su Miao came to the general area where the main body lost contact. She saw the chasm left by the bombardment of starlight. This chasm was swallowing up the surrounding quicksand, which was spectacular. Near here, Su Miao walked around the area and found no clues. Suddenly, a bit of malice appeared in the distance. This malice appeared and disappeared quickly, but it was still caught by Su Miao. She took one step and arrived at the area where the malice appeared in a few steps. Su Miao raised her hand, condensed her magic power into a staff, and pointed it towards the quicksand below. The void collapsed. Boom! The quicksand on the ground turned into chaos. Tens of seconds later, an underground palace appeared below. The outer wall of the underground palace had been destroyed, exposing the space inside. Su Miao felt it for a while, but could not sense the existence of the main body. Where has the body gone? She summoned the undead, let the undead who planted trees enter the underground palace, and gave them orders to cause wanton destruction. The magical phantom Su Miao is a little confused. It is a small problem that she cannot find the main body, cannot replenish the saplings, and cannot continue to plant trees. The biggest problem is the inability to replenish the magic power. She was confused here, and the evil god was confused. Isn't the pink demon Su Miao trapped? Why is there another pink demon out there? At first, the evil god suspected that the pink demon wandering outside was fake. But after just one glance, his prying eyes were noticed, and he raised his hand to burst out destructive magic, destroying the void, and even a corner of his underground palace was destroyed. With such keen insight and such devastating attack power, who else could it be but the pink devil? The evil god is numb. The trap which Su Miao needs to be dealt with. The which Su Miao wandering outside also needs to be dealt with. And there is also a C Sin who is hiding in the temple and causing trouble that needs to be paid attention to. There is only one of them, and the evil god is sure to give it a try and take a gamble. But there were so many, and he was worried that no matter who he dealt with, after causing certain damage, other trapped people would escape. Suddenly, the evil god's body shook, and he sensed an extremely dangerous aura. It's Witsubing's silver spear. Damn C Sin. What is he doing? This silver gun must not be revived. Otherwise all his previous efforts will be in vain. In the temple, C Sin walked around the blood-stained silver gun on the ground. He tried to get closer, but every time he got closer, he felt like he was facing death.
How powerful was Witsubing? Who was able to kill gods more than 2,000 years ago? More than 2,000 years later. It's incredible that the silver spear he left behind can still have such a terrifying aura.
Sizue put one hand on the black code and muttered to himself.
If I touch the silver gun directly, there is a high probability that I will be killed like that person. But if I don't activate this silver gun, I can't leave here safely. What should I do?
In confusion, C Sin noticed a dark cloak left in the corner of the temple. If he remembered correctly, this black cloak belonged to the unlucky ability user's teammate. But these ability users had all been teleported away by the evil god. So how could there be a cloak left behind? Sizue walked towards the dark cloak in the corner and raised the corners of his mouth slightly.
My friend, this is amazing. I didn't expect you to be able to avoid the evil god's teleportation.
The dark cloak made no movement. Sizue patted the black code in his hand.
Friend, do you still want to keep pretending? It's pointless to keep pretending.
The dark sin turned into a shadow monster floating in the air, as if it would pounce on the dark cloak on the ground at any time and kill the hidden ability user.
You?
The black cloak suddenly floated up, quickly retreated, and instantly transformed into an ability user wearing a black cloak. He looked gloomy.
You are the center of that mysterious organization.
Sizue showed a sunny smile, looking happier than ever before.
I'm glad you know my name. It's great. Do you know? Every time I go to a place and tell them that I am Sizue, those people actually say I'm a loser. It's so sad.
The black cloaked ability user felt a chill. Damn it. Do you know how scared he was just now? Not only did this cease and deprive the evil god of a drop of his divine blood, but he also made the evil god helpless and still pretending. Sizue said,
Don't you know your name, my friend?
The black cloaked ability user said.
Zhang Chongwei.
Sizue said.
Zhang Chongwei. It turns out it's you. I've admired you for a long time.
The name I have never heard of is not in the organization's intelligence system. The abilities it controls include light and shadow refraction, space distortion, and 2 other abilities that are not yet clear. TSK. Where did such a powerful ability user come from? When I get back, I have to ask those who work on intelligence whether they have embezzled funds. Zhang Chongwei said.
C Sin, I have admired you for a long time.
Sizue looked gentle and said,
Lao Zhang, I wonder what you think of the silver spear and the evil god.
Zhang Chongwei was startled, and then he realized that the title changed to Lao Zhang. If he didn't have some understanding of Sizue's organization, he might have really believed it. He said,
As long as we leave here now, we will be bewitched by the evil god. If we are not careful, we will be transported to the witch Su Miao. So, if you want to leave safely, the best way is to bring Witsubing's silver gun. But this gun is very dangerous.
Sizue said.
Lao Zhang and I have the same view. But I have a better way.
Zhang Chongwei said.
What can we do?
Sizue said.
I would like to ask Lao Zhang for a favor. Help the witch Su Miao get out of trouble and let Su Miao kill the evil god.
With a vigilant look on Zhang Chonghui's face, he allowed the witch Su Miao to escape and kill the evil god. If he did this, the witch Su Miao would probably kill him as soon as she saw him after escaping from the trap, because they were the ones who designed and arranged the Luo family base, Beisha prison, and Yinshin to find trouble with the witch Su Miao, and even successfully sacrificed the entire Luo family base. But they didn't know why Su Miao, who shouldn't have appeared here, appeared. Sizue pressed one hand on the black code.
Lao Zhang, do you think this method is feasible? I think you should have heard the reason just now. Why doesn't the evil god deal with the witch Su Miao himself? It's not because he is afraid that he drives the ability users trapped here to die in front of the witch Su Miao. It is not ruled out that the evil god can use the power of the witch Su Miao to kill these abilities, so that he can profit from them and absorb the power of those with death abilities. But it's a pity that the evil god doesn't know that Su Miao likes to turn those corpses into undead. His plan will only be in vain. Therefore, I can conclude that the evil god has not recovered much power. How about it, Lao Zhang? Do you agree with my plan?
Zhang Chongwei said.
Zizui, you should understand how terrifying the attack of which Su Miao is. If we are not careful, we will also be affected,
Zizui said.
Don't worry. If the attack of which Su Miao spreads here, I will bear it alone. How about it?
Zhang Chongwei looked suspicious.
Can you do it alone?
It wasn't that Zhang Chongwei didn't trust Zizui, but he simply felt that things would not be that simple. Zizui looked very confident.
I believe in this temple. I believe in what's using silver spear. And I believe in my strength. Now, Lao Zhang, do you agree with my plan? After all, you don't want to be trapped in this temple forever. Right, Zhang Chongwei said.
Okay, I agree. How are you going to help the witch get out of trouble?
Zizui patted the black coat in his hand and said with a smile.
Just agree.
The dark sin unfolded and rushed into Zhang Chonghui's body in an instant. At such a close distance, Zhang Chonghui was completely unable to defend himself. The space around Zhang Chonghui was distorted. He tried to stop it, but his defense was ineffective.
Sin, what did you do to me? Lao Zhang, don't be so angry. Don't be so nervous. You agreed just now.
Zizui pressed one hand on the black code, and a steady stream of sins flowed out of the code and entered Zhang Chonghui's body. Zhang Chonghui stood there unable to move and could only passively accept it. It was the
agree
just now that triggered some kind of rule. Some kind of contract set by Sin.
Despicable. Lao Zhang. Anjing, I'm making you stronger.
While thinking about Zhang Chonghui's continuous flow of sins, Zizui explained,
Now, let me tell you how to help the witch Su Miao get out of trouble. Actually, the method is very simple. As long as we stimulate the resurrection of what's using silver spear and let it explode with unprecedented power, then any rules and restrictions set by the evil god will be wiped out. Without the protection of these rules and restrictions, I believe that the witch Su Miao will definitely be able to find the origin of the evil god and completely eliminate him. Once the evil god dies, it will be very easy to leave here. Isn't it?
Zhang Chonghui's expression changed again and again.
You, madman.
He suddenly understood what Zizui had just said. If the attack of the witch Su Miao spreads here, Zizui will bear it alone. This was not because Zizui was righteous and wanted to protect him,
but that when it came to this point, he no longer existed. Zizui said,
Lao Zhang, you are so smart. You are worthy of being a person with the ability to transform into an octopus. Thank you for your brother's voluntary sacrifice of his life for the experiment. He tried to pick up Wit's using silver gun and revive the silver gun for a moment, which made your brother die so quickly and miserably. Combined with the previous experiments done by the cannon fodder, it can be basically inferred that the more powerful and evil people come into contact with the silver gun, the more terrifying the energy resurrected by the silver gun will explode. Now you and I are the only ones left in the temple. The important task of activating the silver gun and completely reviving it can only be left to you. Lao Zhang, please don't live up to my expectations. I have poured the sins of at least 30,000 people into your body.
Sensing the increasingly terrifying sin in his body, Zhang Chonghui's body collapsed for no reason. The octopus tentacles on his lower body could no longer be hidden and burst out in an instant. Moreover, these tentacles continued to grow under the breeding of sin, and were vaguely out of his control. The trend of
Lao Zhang, what happens next is up to you.
Zizui left these words behind, fled toward the opening of the temple, and disappeared.
Sin, I'm going to kill you.
Zhang Chonghui roared angrily. He tried hard to control every tentacle, hoping that the tentacles would stay away from the blood-stained silver gun. However, the tentacles are constantly growing and growing, grabbing whatever they encounter and curling up whatever they touch. Soon, an uncontrollable tentacle rolled towards the silver gun. Chapter 287 The Evil God Exploded. What is the concept of the sin of 30,000 people? Zhang Chonghui didn't know, and he didn't have time to study this issue. He only felt that his body had turned into a huge gunpowder keg, and the moment he touched the silver gun, it was ignited and detonated, completely reviving Hui's using silver gun. Now there is an uncontrollable tentacle curling towards the silver gun. Without any surprise, an extremely terrifying aura erupted, and Zhang Chonghui felt like he had become an ignited powder keg. He seemed to have seen the stars falling. Supernova explosions. space collapsing, and everything being annihilated. Boom! Zhang Chongwei exploded. The sins of 30,000 people were regarded as the resurrected evil god in front of the silver gun. This caused the silver gun to burst out with unprecedented power, and the entire temple was blasted, and the destructive power swept across all directions. The evil god, who was paying close attention to the wandering witch outside, didn't realize what was happening here. He felt that the remaining soul was about to burst. Just for a moment, he seemed to see Huitsubing standing in front of him again, shooting him to death. Although he used the curse to kill Huitsubing, no one knew that as a god at that time. He could not even resist. Boom! The underground palace is shaking, and the illusion is collapsing. At this moment, the underground palace is exploding. The desert is exploding, and there are explosions everywhere. The evil god huddled up in a ball, trying his best to save the last bit of divine blood, for fear that his breath would leak and lead to the killing of the silver spear. The moment the illusion dissipated, the magical phantom Su Miao, who was looking for its true body on the desert, sensed its true identity. She took one step forward and took a few steps to reach the sky above the area where her body was trapped. Su Miao's body sensed the arrival of the magical phantom, affected by the collapse of the illusion and the explosion of the underground palace. Lin Jiuzhou has stopped singing, and the concert field has disappeared. Su Miao retreated to Lin Jiuzhou and Xia Xiran's position, and the magic space array was maximized. Boom! There was a loud bang in the sky above the underground palace, and the underground palace exploded into chaos. Pink twin tails were flying, and a magical phantom clone appeared in Su Miao's field of vision. Su Miao nodded, and the magic phantom clone turned into pure magic power and returned to the original body, making up for the missing magic power.
Bago! Take Xiaoan and Jiuzhou up and fly farther away. Yes, Your Highness.
Starling immediately grew in size, picked up Lin Jiuzhou and Xia Xiaoan and flew out of the underground palace, flying into the distance at high speed. His Highness Su Miao ordered something like this, and he must be preparing for a big wave. Must fly faster.
You go and destroy the key nodes of the underground palace.
Su Miao looked at the remaining undead and gave the order.
Find the evil god.
The undead immediately took action in the desert and underground palace, searching for areas where the evil god might exist. Su Miao walked up to the sky step by step, looking at the desert below, waiting for the evil god that might appear. In the underground palace, the undead elite ran rampant and began to destroy wildly. Unlike the situation before the Big Bang, which was hard and difficult to destroy, the current underground palace is as fragile as paper. As long as the undead elite uses a little force, everything in the underground palace can be smashed to pieces. In the beginning, this was nothing. But after too much destruction, the evil god couldn't bear it anymore.
Witch, you are going too far.
The shadow of the evil god roared. The terrifying divine power radiated and spread in the underground palace, and the ordinary undead and undead elites that were destroying the underground palace decayed and turned into ashes and disappeared. In the end, there were only 16 undead elites left alive, who had devoured Wu Ji and Chai Fakian's flesh and blood and evolved again.
His! So strong!
Sin emerged from the sand and spat out a mouthful of blood. He glanced at the underground palace in the distance, pressed one hand on the black code, and the dark sin covered his body, turning into a dark owl and flying quickly into the distance. In order to get out of trouble, he turned Zhang Chongwei into a sin bomb and completely revived Huitsubing's silver gun. But the destructive power caused by the resurgence of the silver gun was far beyond his imagination. Even if he ran fast enough, he still suffered extremely severe injuries and almost exploded. Fortunately, the main target of the silver gun was Zhang Chongwei, whose whole body was full of sin, and the evil shadow of the evil god who was shocked by the silver gun's resurrection. So he successfully escaped. Despite this, Si Zui was still buried under the quicksand, and it took him a while to finally regain the strength to move. He understood that he had to run away as soon as possible, because the resurrection of the silver gun is bound to break the illusion of the underground palace. Once the illusion is broken, the witch Su Miao will inevitably give the evil god a wave of destructive magic to wash away the earth with her vengeful character. According to the information provided by Si Ming and Si Li, no one can resist such a devastating attack with flesh and blood. Si Zui expressed doubts when he saw the relevant information. Even if his subordinates later provided more exaggerated information, Si Zui was still suspicious. Si Zui believed it until he saw with his own eyes the devastating damage caused by the witch Su Miao when she used Starlight Bloom. and a situation that even the evil god Shadow was afraid of. Therefore, the speed at which he turned into an owl and ran away was the fastest in his life. High in the sky, pink twin tails were flying. Su Miao, who was holding an alloy staff, glanced here and noticed the sinful owl running away at high speed. Although the aura of sin on the owl made Su Miao instinctively feel disgusted, she found no malice and no aura of the evil god, confirming that this was not a strategy of the evil god to attack the east. She simply ignored the owl and continued to look at the source of the evil god's outbreak. The malice that wanted to kill her completely was so thick that it seemed to completely cover the desert. It's true that he is the evil god causing trouble. The starlight blooming magic circle unfolded, and magic power was input into the alloy staff crazily. With a crazy gathering of magic power, the sky that had just returned to light became dark again. With Su Miao as the center, bright stars could be seen shining, as if this place had become the only light source in the world.
Which, I will fight with you.
Sensing the devastating magic energy fluctuations, the evil god Shadow shouted loudly. More than 2,000 years ago, he was killed by Huitzubing, and his divine body was destroyed, leaving only a pool of divine blood lingering on the throne. In order to continue to live, he merged the divine blood with the entire temple and underground palace, absorbed the lives of those who came after him, and accumulated the power of recovery bit by bit. However, who could have imagined that Huitzubing would be so ruthless as to leave the silver spear that killed him in the temple, destroying his plans again and again? It's ridiculous that he initially thought that Huitzubing had been cursed by him before his death, and he couldn't even hold the silver spear. Now, he finally gained hope of resurrection. But he didn't expect to be forced into this situation by the witch. Escape and wait until the witch completely destroys the underground palace, which will be the moment of his complete destruction. Therefore, he could not escape even if he wanted to. There is no other possibility but to fight to the death. Huitzubing's silver spear exploded. The energy in the silver spear became very small, and his aura quickly weakened. This was his only chance. A wolf howled in the darkness. The evil god's phantom transformed into a bloody giant wolf, devouring the sun and moon, and charged towards Su Miao head-on. In an instant, it seemed as if the entire desert had become a part of the giant bloody wolf, capable of devouring everything, crushing everything, and suppressing everything. Su Miao didn't expect that the evil god could do something big. Facing the terrifying bloody giant wolf that suddenly appeared, his body couldn't help but tremble, and he didn't pay attention to pouring all the magic power into the alloy staff. Boom! Starlight blooms in full bloom. The bloody giant wolf faced the bombardment of starlight blooming. He persisted for 0.5 seconds. The eyes of the bloody giant wolf, incarnated by the evil god, showed extreme fear and disbelief. The bright starlight penetrated the body of the bloody giant wolf, and countless starlights exploded in the body of the bloody giant wolf, annihilating the bloody giant wolf. The remaining divine blood struggled in the exploding starlight, trying to survive. Witch! The divine blood screams angrily. He is a high god. Why is this so? Even though he was extremely angry and wanted to tear Su Miao into pieces, it was of no use. After a few seconds, the divine blood was annihilated and dissipated bit by bit. The malice was gone.
I'm not willing to accept it.
With the complete destruction of the evil god, the entire underground palace is collapsing, and the desert is shaking again, as if the entire desert is about to disappear. At this moment, Su Miao, who was standing high in the air, held an alloy staff and swayed. The starlight bloom just now was so exciting that all the magic power was consumed. Fortunately, she still has Tai Chi Xi and Illusion Yuan. Otherwise she would fall directly. Su Miao's figure flashed away from the crumbling desert and quickly left the scene. However, this time the battle consumed an unprecedented amount of energy. Not long after walking, Su Miao couldn't hold on and fell from the sky. Su Miao gathered her energy and used all her strength to run the Tai Chi heart flow, removing the impact of the fall and smoothly blasting into the quicksand. In less than a second, Su Miao's entire body was covered by quicksand, which was extremely dangerous. An ordinary person would definitely die in this situation. The consequences of being buried in quicksand are similar to being sealed into stone, gold, or silver statues by Chai Fakian, but even worse. At the critical moment, Su Miao immediately held her breath and forcibly converted the true energy in her body into magic power, unfolded the magic space array, and swallowed up the surrounding quicksand. I don't know how long it took, but the nearby quicksand was swallowed up, forming a huge depression. To be precise, Su Miao arrived at the hard Gobi formation. This used to be the Gobi. But due to the influence of the Black Storm, the desert moved here and covered everything here. Su Miao, who was standing at the bottom of the pit, looked up and roughly estimated that the desert covering this area was at least more than 30 meters deep, which was even scarier than the ice covering the surface during heavy snowfall and extreme cold. Now, although there is still quicksand flowing down in the distance, at least there is no longer the risk of burying her. Taking advantage of this free time, Su Miao quickly took out a tomato from the magic space and ate it in several bites. Then she took out raspberries and took a few mouthfuls. After eating a lot of tomatoes and berries continuously, Su Miao felt that her body had regained a bit of magic power and regained a little energy. But after this battle, she needed to fully recover and go back to have a good sleep, because this time the magic power is overdrawn seriously. Su Miao felt mentally exhausted as never before. Suddenly, Su Miao noticed a silver light reflecting not far ahead. She took a closer look and found that it was a silver spear. There was a very dangerous aura on the silver spear, and the blood of the god, who had completely wiped out the soul, and will was flowing on the tip of the spear. And Su Miao suddenly remembered something, and took out the seal from the magic space. As soon as the seal appeared, the dangerous aura from the silver gun rushed into the seal, blasting it to pieces. Which, you are MD. Vaguely, Su Miao seemed to hear the evil god's last curse. At the same time, the silver gun seemed to have exhausted its last bit of power, and became ordinary and ordinary. But the divine blood dripping from the tip of the gun proved its former glory. Who would have thought that the evil god's last bit of soul will be hidden in that seal? Fortunately, she took precautions at the time. Also, has this silver gun killed evil gods? Su Miao looked at the divine blood dripping from the tip of the gun. Thoughtfully, leave this silver gun here? What a shame. Moreover, this dripping divine blood made Su Miao uneasy. Although she is very confident in the power of Starlight Bloom, what if the evil god is still not completely dead? Su Miao glanced at the alloy staff in her hand and said, I'm going to smelt you and recast it into a sword. If you don't agree, give me a reaction. If you agree, don't move. After waiting for 3 seconds, there was no response from the silver gun. Su Miao said, Very good. I'll take it as your consent. Raising her hand to put the silver gun into the magic space, Su Miao ate a little more, regained some of her magic power, and left the bottom of the pit while she still had energy. Your Highness. More than 10 minutes later, Bago found Su Miao and was extremely excited. Mina, grow up and take me to fly, Su Miao said. Brother Ba was stunned for a moment and immediately grew bigger. He didn't know what to do. Should he pick up His Highness Su Miao like he did with Lin Jiujiu and Xia Xiran? As a result, the next second, Su Miao stood directly on Ba Ji's back. Beige only felt his body sink, and soon felt that His Highness Su Miao was very light. Yes, Your Highness! It did not hesitate and flew away into the distance carrying His Highness Su Miao. Half an hour later, Bago stopped on a peak, where Lin Jiujiu and Xia Xian were placed. Lin Jiujiu and Xia Xian were very happy when they saw Sister Su Miao returning. Never mind. Su Miao didn't say anything after landing. She waited and took out the pear tree magic enchantment. Tables, chairs, beds, and a lot of fruits and food. I'll sleep for a while. If something happens, wake me up. Once the black storm appears, let it take root. Su Miao lay down on the bed and fell asleep peacefully. Lin Jiujiu, Xia Xuan, and Ba Ge didn't say anything. They walked aside obediently and did not disturb them. Xia Xian looked at the sleeping Sister Su Miao, and then looked at the direction bombarded by starlight in the distance. She secretly decided in her heart that she must become stronger, be able to help Sister Su Miao, and no longer become a burden. Lin Jiujiu is the same. They had seen clearly just now the final transformation of the evil god Shadow into a giant bloody wolf, which was too terrifying. Without Sister Su Miao, none of them would be able to survive. In the desert, the quicksand keeps flowing, and I don't know where it will eventually flow and where it will stop. A black owl fell from the sky. The strange blacks and dissipated, and Cixing got up from the sand in a state of embarrassment. I really don't know if I made a profit or a loss now. He looked towards the direction of the evil god's underground palace and spat out a large mouthful of blood. Which Su Miao can really kill the evil god? Si Ming, what else are you hiding? Chapter 288 Reforging the Silver Sword. I don't know how much time passed, but the collapsed desert stopped flowing. The 5 undead elites slowly climbed out of the quicksand. They looked at the unfamiliar environment around them in confusion, not knowing what to do. His Highness's order was for them to destroy the underground palace temple. Due to some force majeure, the underground palace temple was completely destroyed, and the mission was completed. But then an unimaginable big explosion happened, and they were caught in the quicksand. And they didn't know where they ended up? They struggled to climb out of the quicksand. As a result, His Highness disappeared. Where should they go next? Do what? At the edge of the desert, a group of more than 100 ability users were migrating. What was bad was that they got lost. But luckily they discovered the corridor of mutated willow trees in front of them, and exclaimed a miracle.
Now we are saved! Thank God! But we still have no water. You see, this willow tree is growing so well. Can we collect some willow branches and drink some willow sap? Nonsense! The leaves and bark of willow trees are poisonous. You will be poisoned if you eat them. Moreover, they can grow in the desert during the hot weather of the apocalypse. These willow trees must have mutated and become more toxic. Then eat some leaves. It's better than dying of thirst.
A young man in the team volunteered to approach the willow tree and prepare to pick some willow leaves to solve the problem of water shortage. Only when he got close to the mutant willow tree did the willow branches wrap around the young man's neck like a poisonous snake. At the same time, multiple branches pierced the young man's skin, sucking the blood out of his body and feeding it back to the willow tree itself.
Ah!
The young man struggled in pain, hoping that his teammates could save his life. However, almost everyone was retreating, fearing that they would be eaten by the mutated willow tree if they came a little closer. You must know that this is not a mutant willow tree. Look at the mutant willow trees running through the desert. If you are an enemy of one mutant willow tree, you are an enemy of more mutant willow trees. They want to leave this desert alive and don't want to die here. Just when they turned around, they saw the sky suddenly plunge into darkness. There was a loud explosion in the distance, and all the sounds disappeared. The next second, the desert shook, and an unknown number of people in the team were swept away by the quicksand. After an unknown amount of time, the survivors climbed out of the sand and found that only about 30 people were left in the team of more than 100 people. Even among the mutated willows, many have disappeared. But the direction of this corridor of mutated willows can still be vaguely seen.
What happened deep in the desert? Have no idea.
Those who survived looked confused. Someone took out their mobile phone and found that the network was restored. They immediately logged into Weibo and posted what happened here. I want to live. On the 35th day of migration, we got lost in the desert. Just when we were almost desperate, we discovered a corridor of mutated willow trees. This made us very excited and gave us hope of living. We have found hope of leaving the desert, but the shortage of drinking water remains the biggest problem. A brother volunteered to pick willow leaves to quench his thirst. He goes up and is eaten by the mutant willow tree. We were terrified. Suddenly, the sky suddenly darkened. All the light disappeared. No sound could be heard. And then everything turned upside down and everyone was buried in the sand. By the time I crawled out of the sand, there were only about 30 people left in the migration team of more than 100 people. And even those ferocious mutant willow trees were gone. Can anyone tell us what happened in the desert? Is there any hope for us to get out alive? I'm desperate. First floor. Huho is big, you won't meet the witch Su Miao. Right? Second floor. Spiritual Jing Mei, there have been either black storms or black storms in the desert recently. I suspect you have encountered major earthquakes and quicksand movements in the desert. Floor 3. Kahua Diver, it feels scary just looking at it. Floor 4. Dark Universe, corridor of mutated willow trees in the desert? Why does it sound so familiar? Floor 5. Broken Feather Cat, I passed by the desert you mentioned some time ago. I didn't see or hear of any willow tree corridor? Floor 6. Potito 1024, is there a possibility upstairs that these mutated willow trees are migrating? 7th floor. Qianing Fanming, I just asked a friend, and he said that an unknown big explosion occurred near your coordinate area. 8th floor. Ryogi_Shiki, the sofa may have revealed the truth. Floor 9. Grass 233, the end of the world is getting more and more exciting. On the 10th floor. By Yumming, passing by. Press your paw. 11th floor. Guest under the Nanmu. The ability users from Yinqing and Beisha prisons have gone to the desert these days. 12th floor. Wanshi, come on. I want to see more fun. At the beginning, no one paid attention to this Weibo, and not many people saw it. However, as the night snack app also started to be discussed, and someone named CE passed by and liked it. This Weibo attracted more people's attention. This is nothing. Someone contacted Baisha Prison and found that Baisha Prison had completely lost contact. The leader Shaoran who left Baisha Prison entered the desert and his whereabouts are unknown. Someone contacted Yanqing, but someone from Yanqing responded, saying only that the city lord Wuji was not there, and no more details were disclosed. A few hours later, someone posted several photos of Baisha Prison on the forum. The photos are full of people with abilities dying with fear on their faces. The person who provided the photo said,
I found a few survivors here who were in charge of the kitchen. Their mental state was a bit poor, and they kept talking about trial and death penalty. The specific situation is not yet clear. What about Yanqing? Do you have any photos? It seems something really happened in the desert. I'm from Yanqing. It's okay here. I took photos for you. It's very peaceful. But your boss has lost contact. Hasn't he? It's basically confirmed that the witch took action. But with just a few people, it's not like the witch Su Miao could make such a big move. Right. Indeed. Under the current conditions, apart from the witch who can plant trees and green the desert, I can't think of anyone else. Her Highness the Witch is invincible. There is still a doubt about why so many powerful ability users braved high temperatures and natural disasters to enter the desert. And the pink demon happened to appear nearby and was involved. Unless a survivor of this incident can be found. But judging from the clues provided by all aspects so far, the possibility of a survivor is too low. Compared with these, I am more curious about where the witch Su Miao is going. Think about it from another angle. Will all humans in the future become as powerful as Her Highness the Witch Su Miao? Holding the grass? It's exciting just to think about it.
There were heated discussions on the forum, trying to uncover the truth of the incident. There are only a few survivors of this incident. Si Zui was seriously injured, and it was impossible to bubble. Su Miao is sleeping. The other powerful people who went to the underground palace for the artifacts were all dead, and their discussion was destined to be fruitless. The discussion was fruitless, and more people began to wonder why the witch Su Miao risked such a big risk to enter the desert, and even planted a corridor of mutant willows. Where did she want to go? Can they follow? Su Miao woke up. Rarely. She had a good dream. Dreaming about her father, mother, grandfather, grandma, good friends and classmates when she was a child. In the dream, maybe because she was having too much fun, Su Miao excitedly told everyone that she knew magic, and performed a starburst on the spot, hoping that everyone would see the beautiful fireworks generated by magic. As a result, everyone showed expressions of extreme fear, twisted and disappeared in an instant.
Which, I hate it.
Vaguely, Su Miao heard such a cry and woke up. Su Miao yawned, and her dream became fragmented, with only a little bit left. For Su Miao, dreaming is a very happy thing.
Sister Su Miao, wake up!
Xia Xiaoan and Lin Jiujiu immediately stopped practicing Tai Chi and ran over. Sister Su Miao has slept for almost 36 hours this time. Although Sister Su Miao has slept like this before, it is still very worrying. The starling who was napping in the pear tree opened his eyes for the first time and was very happy.
Su
Miao nodded. She felt the magic in her body. I don't know if it was because she was overdrawn too much when fighting the evil god. In theory, the situation where she could completely recover her magic power after just sleeping has not happened. She has only recovered 50% of her magic power now, and she doesn't feel energetic enough.
Never mind.
Su Miao touched Xia Xuan's head. Noticing Lin Jiujiu's eyes, Su Miao touched Lin Jiujiu's head again.
Eat something first.
After washing her face and gargling her mouth with water polo skills, Su Miao took out various foods from the magic space and placed them on the table. It seemed that they had already finished the food left for Xia Xuan, Lin Jiujiu, and Bago before going to bed. Therefore, when they see fresh food, they eat it quickly and feel very happy. Speaking of which, there is not much meat in the magic space, so stocking up on mutated animal meat needs to be put on the agenda as soon as possible. Anyway, in terms of fresh preservation of mutated animal meat, Su Miao still has a lot of ice cubes stored in the magic space. There is no need to worry whether it is stored in the magic space or outside the magic space. There is another thing. She wants to recast the silver spear stained with divine blood into a sword. This can be done in advance. After eating and drinking, and resting for a while, Su Miao walked out of the magic barrier of the pear tree and took out a large amount of metal and a silver gun dripping with blood from the magic space. Su Miao raised her hand to condense a purple fireball, and then used the mage's hand to throw the prepared metal into the purple fireball to smelt the metal into liquid.
I'm going to reforge you into a sword. If you don't want to, You can give me a little reaction. If you don't respond, I will assume that you agree.
In order to prevent accidents, Su Miao confirmed again. This is the silver gun that once killed the evil god. It can kill the evil god, and is still intact to this day. It must be extraordinary. It must have developed wisdom long ago. An ordinary person would probably regard the silver gun as a sacred object. But the divine blood dripping from the silver gun from time to time made Su Miao very afraid. There had been a case of blood magic. Su Miao was worried that the evil god would not die cleanly and completely. It would be terrible if there were still some attached to the silver gun, and he expected to be resurrected by chance one day in the future. As an evil god, it is possible for him to be reborn with blood. Therefore, recasting is the best way to deal with it. Last time, Su Miao deliberately learned some knowledge about casting in order to cast an alloy staff. By the way, he learned that famous swordsmiths in ancient times liked to throw themselves into the sword-making furnace to perform blood sacrifices at critical moments. Some of the more extreme swordsmiths directly put more living people into it. Scientifically speaking, this should be to add some carbon to the molten iron for fusion, thereby enhancing the toughness and strength of the material. Right before the Doomsday, Su Miao would analyze this based on the physics and chemistry knowledge he had learned. But after the Doomsday came, people with abilities awakened. Magic appeared, and there were too many things that she couldn't understand. And she couldn't be sure anymore. But it doesn't matter. She could apply the principle by analogy. In ancient times, famous swordsmiths used human sacrifices to cast famous swords. And she used divine blood sacrifices to cast famous swords. The swords cast in this way will definitely be better. The silver gun dripping with blood did not respond. Su Miao said,
Okay, thank you.
She grabbed the bloody silver gun with her mage's hand and threw it into the purple fireball. The silver gun and divine blood melted in the purple fireball and merged with other liquid metals. There were no accidents during the whole process. And there was no scream from the evil god. It seemed that the evil god was really dead this time. In fact, there was something Su Miao didn't say. If Yin Chang disagreed, she would use more extreme means to completely destroy Yin Qian and eliminate any possibility of the evil god's resurrection. Layers of magic arrays unfold, and impurities in the metal liquid are precipitated from time to time, making the metal liquid mix more pure. After the metal liquid was almost mixed, Su Miao used the hands of a mage to stretch the metal liquid into a long strip. The next step is to use the magic array to repeatedly fold, compress, and forge the metal liquid. During this process, Su Miao felt that her magic power was consumed very quickly. Sure enough, professional things still have to be done by professional people. Simply using magic consumes too much. But using magic is really efficient. Nearly 6 hours later, a silver sword appeared in front of Su Miao. The dimensions are the same as the silver sword stored in the silver umbrella. The silver sword is one color and very beautiful. After careful consideration, Su Miao carved several basic magic circuits into the silver sword so that the silver sword could withstand more real energy and magic power and prevent possible explosion accidents. A big water ball fell down. And with a sneer, the big water ball turned into a large ball of water vapor and dissipated. The silver sword was suspended in front of Su Miao. Su Miao held the silver sword. Her Tai Chi heart flow was running. Her true energy was injected into it. And she simply waved forward. The sword whistled sonically, and the sand in front suddenly cracked and collapsed downwards. So strong.
I just swung my sword casually. Is this sword energy or sword intention? Or something else?
Su Miao looked at the silver sword in her hand, and her eyes lit up. She understood that this was the effect of the silver gun being recast. Does this mean that in the future, when swinging a sword, there is no need to consider distance? In a few seconds, Su Miao simulated many scenarios. Su Miao looked at the silver sword in her hand, looking forward to it more and more. She took out a new silver umbrella from the magic space, took out the silver sword from the silver umbrella, and replaced it with a newly forged silver sword. At this time, Su Miao noticed that it was already dark. She looked up at the sky. The stars were twinkling in the sky, which was mesmerizing. The starry sky in the desert is so beautiful. Take a photo.
Huh?
It's a meteor shower. It's so beautiful. Keep shooting. Wait. This meteor shower is falling here. It's dangerous. Chapter 289 Doomsday Natural Disasters. Meteors and fire showers. What are the apocalyptic disasters? Heavy rains and floods. Blizzards and extreme cold. Earthquakes. Ground cracks. Mudslides. Tsunamis. Volcanic eruptions. Mutant beast tides. mutant insect disasters, etc. However, many people ignore a natural disaster that can completely destroy the world in a very short period of time. Asteroid hits Earth. Although the meteor shower in front of us has not reached the level of destroying the Earth, it is still very easy for them all to fall and destroy a city.
Take root. Maximize defense.
Su Miao took a few steps back to the magic barrier of the pear tree and threw several large water balls to the mutant pear tree, causing it to take root towards the mountain. Then Su Miao came to the top of the pear tree magic barrier, and the magic space array was maximized. She has installed magic space missiles before, but this is the first time she has installed a meteorite. Lin Jiujio, Xia Xuan, and Ba Ge were admiring the beautiful meteor shower, but no one expected that the meteor shower would fall towards them, frightening them directly. They saw Su Miao flying over the magic barrier and pointing her alloy staff into the sky. The meteorite is getting closer. The two closed their eyes and squatted on the ground, holding their heads. Beige looked at the sky in panic, watching the falling meteorite disappear as it approached His Highness Su Miao. Just like the missiles that fell some time ago disappeared out of thin air. Thanks to His Highness Su Miao, I am saved. Su Miao was also scared, but she had no choice. If these meteorites are allowed to fall, the pear tree magic barrier will definitely not be able to withstand it. 1, 2, 3. In a very short period of time, Su Miao successfully caught 3 falling stars. At the same time, more meteorites fell in the desert. The earth shook, and the devastating impact set off endless sandstorms. The rolling sand and dust covered the sky and the sun. Apart from the strong light caused by the explosion, nothing could be seen outside the magic barrier. The meteor shower lasted for 3 hours, and Su Miao used a magic space array to catch 11 meteors. No matter from which angle you look at it, the density of this meteor shower is terrifying. If this was not a desert, but a city where hundreds of millions of people live, how many living people would be left after such a terrifying meteor shower? After confirming that no meteors would continue to fall, Su Miao glanced at the endless chaotic sand and dust around her and returned to the pear tree magic barrier. Affected by the falling meteor shower, the air nearby became extremely bad and the temperature continued to rise. Without the magic barrier, this place would not be suitable for human survival at all.
Your Highness, is it over?
Bugs asked. Su Miao said,
I don't know. It's over for now.
Lin Jiujio and Xia Xian had frightened looks on their faces. What happened just now was too terrifying and far beyond their understanding.
Let's eat something first.
Su Miao took out some strawberries, raspberries, mulberries, apricots, oranges, etc. from the magic space. No matter what kind of disaster you experience, eating something delicious can heal your soul to some extent. She just needed her magic back. Lin Jiujio and Xia Xuan took a bite of strawberry. Tasty. After eating a few more, they were completely immersed in the delicious food. It was dark outside, with yellow sand everywhere, and nothing could be seen clearly.
Your Highness, are there any alien monsters hiding in these meteorites?
Mina, who was gnawing corn, suddenly asked. Su Miao tilted her head and glanced at Ba Ge, seriously wondering if this guy had watched too many science fiction movies recently. How could there be alien monsters in the meteorites?
How can it be?
Just thinking of all the outrageous situations at the end of the world. Su Miao thought again and took out a meteor from the magic space. The entire meteorite is about 6 meters in diameter and 4 meters high, making it the largest one collected. It would be scary for such a big meteorite to fall to the ground. Lin Jiujio and Xia Xian looked over curiously. Xia Xian said,
Sister Su Miao, I didn't hear anything.
Lin Jiujio said,
Sister Su Miao, I didn't feel the breath of the dream. Well, open it and take a look.
Su Miao took out her umbrella sword, pulled out the reforged silver sword, and swiped 2 swords at the meteorite. With a bang, the entire meteorite fell apart. Inside is pure meteorite. Xia Xian and Lin Jiujio looked at the neatly cut meteorites on the ground, their eyes full of curiosity. When she cut through such a large meteorite just now, it seemed like Sister Su Miao's sword didn't even touch the meteorite. Right? Su Miao held the silver sword and felt that it felt very good to cut the meteor. This is much more enjoyable than cutting watermelon or pumpkin. Originally, I planned to give the meteors in the magic space to enemies I might encounter in the future at the same speed as when I collected them. But the opportunity was rare, so I decided to give it all away. It just so happened that Xia Xian and Lin Jiujio didn't have any cold weapons that they could handle, so they could use the meteorite iron to make some. Su Miao took out all the remaining 10 meteors. Brush, brush, brush. Each meteorite cut 2 swords. So happy. What does this inexplicable pleasure feel like? After the cutting was completed, Su Miao took the silver sword back into the silver umbrella and put it back into the magic space. Xia Xian and Lin Jiujiu looked at Sister Su Miao and then at the cut meteorites on the ground. They felt strange. It was rare to see Sister Su Miao so happy, but it was hard to feel where this happiness was. At this time, Bago suddenly jumped up.
Your Highness! Your Highness! Look! It's bleeding!
Bleeding? What's the situation? Su Miao, Xia Xuan, and Lin Jiujiu looked over. I saw a lot of green blood flowing out between the 2 cut meteorites. Only then did they notice that there really was some incomprehensible alien monster hidden in the cut meteorite. Su Miao was stunned for a moment, then raised her hand, and a purple flame fell down, smelting the 2 bleeding meteorites and the cut monster inside into a piece of alloy, and put it into the magic space. As for what exactly is this monster hidden in the meteorite, she had no interest in finding out. They have all been killed, and the most important thing is to deal with them promptly. After all, a lot of meteorites have fallen in this area, and it would be terrible if there were any accomplices among them.
It's okay. Let's rest,
Su Miao said. There is still such thick sand and dust outside. I don't know when it will dissipate. Such thick sand and dust can block her sight, and it can also block the sight of those incomprehensible monsters. The weird green blood on the ground had been burned away by the purple flames, leaving no trace behind. Yes, throw in another starlight bloom. Su Miao casually threw away a few ordinary starlight blooms, feeling relieved now. However, she was not sure whether the meteor shower would continue to fall, or whether the monster hiding in the meteorite would crawl out and find this place. But Su Miao did not feel sleepy at all. Thinking of this, Su Miao took out her mobile phone and wanted to see if the omnipotent netizens had any clues. When she unfolded the magic space array just now, she saw that the meteor shower covered a very wide area, and someone might have discovered that there were monsters hidden in the meteors. But unfortunately, there is no internet. This may be due to the influence of dust and sand blocking the sky, which blocks the signal. Or it may be other reasons. Su Miao only hoped that the meteor shower would not hit the satellite that provided her with the internet. Last time, the official made an announcement on various apps that could be used. Due to the impact of the Doomsday disaster, there were only a few network satellites left covering the world. At present, it is necessary for all countries to join forces and share the results to provide that everyone can use the internet within a certain period of time. If a few more are destroyed by meteor showers, the world may be completely disconnected. Unable to consult netizens, Su Miao simply took out the magic book and started learning arcane magic. After getting these 3 arcane magic books, she only learned the theory and not any specific magic. She simply took advantage of this time to learn the 3 magics of arcane impact, arcane wisdom, and flash. Arcane impact is the most basic attack method in arcane magic. The specific principle is to compress the arcane energy through the magic circuit, impact the arcane energy out in a predetermined trajectory, and consume the magic power of each arcane impact within a certain period of time. The consumption is doubled, and the damage and damage caused are doubled. The specific magic power limit consumed by arcane impact depends on the magic power limit of the caster, and the damage and destruction caused accordingly are the same. According to the theory in the book, the magic power consumed each time increases by 200%, and the maximum increase in damage and damage caused is 1000%. To put it simply, the initial arcane impact consumes 10 magic points. Then the next time it consumes 2,000 points. The next time it consumes 400,000 points. And the next time it consumes 80 million points. The initial arcane impact damage is 10 points. So the limit of superimposed arcane impact in a short period of time will be 10,000 points. This is calculated based on 4 arcane impacts. However, the magic book also mentions that the caster's magic power is enough to superimpose more than 5 arcane shocks, and the damage and destruction caused will be more terrifying. As for the problem of rapid consumption of magic power, don't worry. When using arcane impact, the arcane affinity effect will be triggered, and the magic power in the world will be quickly absorbed to replenish oneself, as if all the magic power in the surrounding heaven and earth will be turned into one's own magic reserve pool. This is similar to a martial art described in a unique introduction that Su Miao saw in the Yangshan Refuge Library, because it was related to the Tai Chi flow that he was interested in. Su Miao briefly understood it. This martial arts book tells the story of practitioners who do not have any true energy, but in fact they completely integrate the true energy they practice into the surrounding world. The more profound they practice, the larger the world they can control, and the wider the scope of their influence. Broad, when encountering a battle, he can naturally use the vitality of the surrounding world to attack. It's as if he appears to be a person, but is actually a small piece of the world. People who fight against this unique skill have no idea that they are fighting against a small piece of the world, which is very abnormal. Su Miao ate a strawberry and learned the magic of arcane impact after a little deduction. Although he learned it, Su Miao was not prepared to use magic like arcane impact, because the magic beam is much easier to use than the arcane impact. The reason for studying was that Su Miao wanted to understand the principle of the caster's rapid recovery of magic power after releasing magic through arcane impact. The book mentions that after releasing the arcane impact, the caster will enter an awakened state, thereby quickly recovering magic power. But what is the arousal state? And what is the principle of the arousal state? There is so much to study. Once she masters the principles, maybe she won't have to worry about the consumption of Starlight Bloom's magic power the next time she fights. Su Miao wanted to test the arcane impact, but considering that recasting the silver sword consumes too much magic power, and preventing the falling meteorite consumes a lot of magic power, it is not suitable to use magic that consumes too much magic power now. Let's try it next time. A few hours later, Su Miao learned the two basic magics of arcane wisdom and flash. When Su Miao travels quickly in normal times, he is essentially using Tai Chi Xi and flows true energy to speed up. And the same applies in battle. Now with flash, her ability to survive in battle will be greatly improved, and she will have one more trump card. It is worth mentioning that it is not recommended to use flash too many times in a short period of time. The specific limit depends on the individual situation of the caster. If it is used forcibly multiple times beyond the limit, it may cause adverse effects on the caster, such as magic confusion, center of gravity imbalance, nausea, vomiting, etc. In severe cases, it may even cause slight magic backlash. This depends on the situation. Su Miao ate a strawberry and continued studying. Unknowingly, it was 6 a.m., and Su Miao noticed that the sky was getting a little brighter compared with the night. The dust that covered the sky has settled a little, allowing Su Miao, who lives on the top of the mountain, to see a little bit of the blue sky. However, underneath the magic barrier, there is still a vast expanse of chaotic sand and dust, and I don't know how many days it will take for it to completely settle. Su Miao took out her mobile phone and unexpectedly found that there was an internet connection. She first opened Weibo and noticed various 999 plus message reminders. What's the situation? Su Miao looked at her Weibo name and avatar. She has no certification, but she doesn't know when she got it. The certification information is which Su Miao, and her fans have reached an astonishing 1.2 million. Ah! It turns out that Miao Miao is His Highness Su Miao, and I have been paying attention to him for a long time. When will His Highness Su Miao post a new Weibo post? When can I become as strong as His Highness Su Miao? Pay attention. Which? You killed my relatives. Sooner or later, I will kill you to take revenge. It's such a joy. The last person who said he wanted revenge was eaten by a mutated animal that appeared on the road without His Highness Su Miao seeing him. Su Miao was startled when she saw so many people suddenly appearing. She ignored the overwhelming news and began to search for the meteor shower. The meteor shower that broke out last night was witnessed by many people, and many even experienced it personally. Don't eat rabbits, wow. There was a beautiful meteor shower last night. I wish I could be beautiful and cute until my death in the apocalyptic world. Caution, help. Someone come and save us. Our base has been hit by a meteorite, and there are dead people everywhere. Who will save us? Kun is too big to eat, it's too scary. A meteor fell here and directly reduced the entire city to an abyss. How the chicken crows. Who can tell me how long this apocalypse will last? I cannot stand it anymore. The bear does not cry, monster. Monster. Help. Su Miao looked at Weibo, whose nickname was Meng Xiong Don't Cry. A blurry photo was posted on this Weibo, and the appearance of the monster could be vaguely seen. The color looked similar to the ones cut out of meteorites, but I don't know if they came out of meteorites. I hope not. Su Miao searched again, but unfortunately could not find any more clues about meteorites and monsters. Then she opened the Midnight Snack app. There were many people with abilities who knew how to fix things, and there might be relevant clues. The general area was originally talking about the strange phenomena that Su Miao caused in the desert, but now they are more discussing the meteorite disaster. Could this meteorite disaster be caused by the witch Su Miao? Some people have posted such posts, based on a comprehensive analysis of Su Miao's path after the end of the world. What happened near the ruins of the Xixia refuge? And the big explosion in the desert. It is speculated that this meteorite disaster is caused by related to the witch Su Miao. However, such posts were quickly criticized for being incompetent, because this meteorite disaster not only covered desert areas, but also affected the whole world. And the scope of the disaster was almost global. Some people speculate that if this meteorite disaster breaks out before the end of the world, billions of people will be killed or injured around the world. Su Miao quickly skipped these posts. She just wants to find posts about monsters inside meteorites. Unfortunately, after searching for a long time, she couldn't find any relevant posts. So she even wanted to post a consultation directly. If she really posts a consultation, will she be targeted by the monster hiding in the meteorite? However, Su Miao would feel uncomfortable if she didn't know the answer, because she really killed 2 people and made enemies. If you don't know the details of these monsters, will you be in danger if you encounter them in the future? After thinking for a long time, Su Miao posted a post in the comprehensive area offering a reward. Excuse me, does anyone know what the monster hidden in the meteorite is? Posted by Kind Witch. Hello everyone. I encountered a falling meteorite, and accidentally discovered that monsters would crawl out after some meteorites were broken. I would like to ask the omnipotent netizens, does anyone know what these monsters are? Since there was sand and dust everywhere, I didn't take any photos. Netizens who have the conditions can go to the local meteorite crater to excavate it. I will provide 1,000 points as a thank you to those who answer questions first. These monsters can be dangerous, so please be careful when researching them. Floor 1. Xi Meow Meow. I know Meow is an alien monster on the run. Floor 2. A certain collapse assures of the end. What? Are there monsters in the meteorite? Real or fake? Floor 3. Golden Chan 2021, Your Highness the Witch. Please stop cheating everyone. Many ability users died in the ruins of the Xixia refuge last time. 4th floor. Ishi? Violet, if this is true, and it can be sealed in a high-temperature meteorite and fall to the earth and continue to live, how terrifying must the monster inside be? Floor 5. MON and MOU, is it the Zerg from science fiction movies? Floor 6. Die Siren, the apocalypse has come, and I don't think it's strange at all if some meteor monsters appear again. Floor 7. Irina, really? A meteorite happened to fall near me, so I went to cut it open and study it. Floor 8. Lord of Tai, I suspect there is also a real witch upstairs. Floor 9. Ling Shi, I wonder if His Highness Su Miao cut these meteorites open and looked at them. Floor 10. I think I can peel it off, Your Highness the Witch. Can the monsters in the meteorite be eaten? 11th floor. Xianing Faming, Hiss, can the monsters in the meteorite be eaten? 12th floor. Potio 1024, why do you tilt your head to eat? Floor 13. And Ran Fishing 3333, everyone, please be serious. This is a post from Her Highness the Witch. Don't mess around. 14th floor. There is a visitor under the Nama tree bubbles. Please look familiar. Floor 15. Demon King Mingxua, I cut open a meteorite here. It seems that there is a monster inside, but it was baked into charcoal ash. I don't know what kind of monster it is. Floor 16. Broken Feather Cat, a lot of meteorites were hit near our base. If there are monsters inside, wouldn't it be dangerous? A lot of people from the base were brought back just now, ready to be smelted into alloy. Looking at these replies, Su Miao frowned slightly. There were too few effective clues. However, she still gave points to netizens who answered. 1,000 points on the 1st floor, 100 points on the 7th floor, 200 points on the 15th floor, 100 points on the 16th floor, etc. I hope these netizens can give her more information. In this way, when the wind and sand outside the magic enchantment of the pear tree settled, she took Xia Xian and Lin Jiujiu away, so that she could be somewhat prepared. Su Miao temporarily closed the post and was about to read other content when she found that the internet was disconnected. If you want to know more, you can only wait until the next time the network is restored. I originally thought that the network would be available in 2 days, but unexpectedly, after 3 days, the network was not available. 3 days later, the dust covering the sky is still suspended in the air, seemingly with no intention of settling. Su Miao blinked, suspecting that it was not that the network had not been restored on time, but that the satellite network was blocked by thick sand and dust. This was always the case when she lived on the top of the mountain. The sand and dust in the air at the bottom of the mountain was thicker and worse, making it impossible to walk at all. They were trapped. On the 5th day, there was still no internet. So Su Miao could only read magic books. On the 7th day, there was still no internet, and there was not much dust settling at the foot of the mountain. Su Miao continued to read the magic book. On the 10th day, Ba Gu reported that the network had not been restored. Su Miao was helpless. He happened to find that the exercise books prepared for Lin Jiujiu and Xia Xiaoan were finished. So he simply provided them with new ones. On the 15th day, the sky became a little blue, and the dust at the bottom of the mountain settled a lot. But there was still no net. On the 18th day, the dust settled and it looked like we could leave soon. On the 20th day, there is internet. Su Miao couldn't wait to turn on her phone, enter the issue app, and refresh the post to reply. Floor 616. The Immortal Supreme, a team of people here went to collect meteorites, but they haven't come back yet. Floor 1106. Irina, I have researched and found out that the people in the meteorite are all alien monsters, and each one is extremely dangerous. It is best to kill them directly. Otherwise, letting them officially revive will be equivalent to facing a mutation with intelligence. Monster. I will make a post on the specific research. Floor 1107. Security Captain, hold the grass. The first floor ended everything. Is it the truth? Floor 2016. Broken Feather Cat, damn it. The monsters from the meteor came out and broke into our base. It's so scary. Fortunately, I ran fast and almost died. Floor 2219. HHSED, I opened an egg from the meteorite, baked it and ate it. It seemed to make me stronger. Floor 2562. Autumn Painting, why is no one paying attention to the first floor? Do you know anything else on the first floor? Floor 2899. By C. Leroux, Your Highness the witch didn't show up today. Really an alien monster? After reading the reply, Su Miao took a bite of the pear and took a deep breath. Through the information provided by these netizens, Su Miao confirmed that the meteorite contained alien monsters. Some monsters died when they fell. Some monsters are alive and in a coma. And some monsters are eggs that can be eaten and can make people stronger, which is very special. Su Miao paid points to the person who provided the information as a thank you. Immediately closed the post and went to find the latest research post posted by Irina.